Good, thank you.
Geez, for a minute there, I thought Sue's gonna have to pull an Alexander Haig on us.
Jesus.
No.
Patrick.
Half the people probably don't even know what you're talking about, Patrick.
Well, our senator
age-
does.
Your
Our
age
senator
is
does.
your age
so-
is showing.
so. All right.
Oh,
Lost him again.
he went away again.
Take the helm, Susan. Open the meeting. We'll get cracking. See, what am I looking for?
There he
Oh.
is.
Here you are. Stay.
Okay.
There.
All right. Sorry, everybody. All right, let's get started. We'll catch up. Senator, thank you for joining us this evening. We all appreciate it. All right. I am calling to order the Narragansett Town Council regular meeting, March 15th, 2021, 7:30 p.m. Everyone, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
It's to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Born and unborn. Nice flag there. Eva.
Thanks.
It just came my way. Did I come out of your purse or something? Just popped
Virtual
right up there. Just popped right up there.
Okay, we're gonna start this evening. We do have Senator Jack Reed with us this evening. He's gonna say a few words after our proclamation tonight. So we have a proclamation celebrating the life of John E. O'Hara, who passed away last Friday, March 12th. Tonight we're going to honor his life with the following proclamation. So this is an official proclamation from the town of Narragansett. Be it hereby known to all that the Narragansett Town Council hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to John E. O'Hara in recognition of his 100th birthday on March 20th, 2021. The entire membership extends its very best wishes on this memorable occasion. Given this 15th day of March, 2021 by the Narragansett Town Council. And again, Mr. O'Hara did pass away at the age of 99 on Friday the 12th. Senator, if you'd like to take a few minutes, I know you're on tonight, to say a few words. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Jesse, and all the members of the council. This is a sad moment, but also a poignant moment to reflect upon the life of John O'Hara. He was an extraordinary individual. His service in World War II was remarkable. As a member of the United States Navy, he served in both oceans. I had the honor in 2006 of presenting Mr. O'Hara his Purple Heart Medal, which he won in combat with our enemies. I also understood that his extraordinary service on so many ships, but particularly the USS UL Scott, which he served on with distinction. But like so many of his generation, he did not stop serving after he left the Navy, after he and a generation of young Americans defeated fascism and made this a world that was bountiful and safe for us. He went on into public service for the rest of his life, always committed to helping his community. So today we celebrate a life well lived, a noble example of courage and commitment to the country, of sacrifice, of compassion, and of dedication. And to the family, my deepest condolences on his passing. He's left us an example of what we can be if we dedicate ourselves to something other than ourselves. To the O'Hara family, my very sincere condolences. And I thank the council for giving me an opportunity to say a few words. Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you, Senator. That was wonderful. And I know that there will be a parade and celebration of his life on Saturday, March 20th, I believe.
Yep.
Susan,
Yes.
do you know the exact time of that?
I think 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock, I think.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
great.
And I just want to say that I was actually really excited when I found out that Mr. O'Hara and I shared the same birthday. And I was even more honored to have been able to honor him with a proclamation at tonight's meeting, and even more excited to be able to participate in the planned parade in his honor on his 100th birthday. I know the parade, like Susan said, is still planned. And although it's not the celebration that we had intended, I'm grateful to be able to honor his life and legacy this Saturday. And the day he would have turned 100, which is amazing. And my heartfelt condolences go out to his family. I thank you for his service to our country and for being such an amazing human being. He will be missed by many, I'm sure. So I look forward to Saturday with Susan. And
Oh, you're muted, Eva.
I was here the whole time.
No, just the last second.
No, just at the end, just at the end.
All right. Well, I'm hoping that the council members can join us as well. I'm excited to be there with Susan, and I know it's going to be not the same event, but I'm happy to partake in it and celebrate his life.
Thank you, Eva. And thank you again, Senator Reed, for being here tonight. All right, so let's move ahead. Before we do the approval of minutes, I do want to mention that the town did receive a petition concerning motion number 27, which was a parking ordinance second reading. There was a petition of 28 registered voters here in town requesting a public hearing. So at the next council meeting, we will have a motion to schedule that public hearing, and we'll move forward with that then. So this evening, number 27 is removed from the agenda. So we will not be discussing that for anyone that's on the meeting for that item. We won't be doing that tonight. So approval of minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the February 1st, 2021 regular meeting minutes?
I'll move that motion, Susan Cicilline Bonanno.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, second by Eva. All in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva?
Eva Jasinski, aye.
Deb?
Deb Kopek, aye.
Patrick? Oh, Patrick, you're muted.
Patrick Murray, aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved 5-0. Is there a motion to approve the February 16th, 2021 regular meeting minutes?
I'll move the motion, Susan Cicilline Bonanno.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Eva. All in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva?
Eva Jasinski, aye.
Deb?
Deb Kopek, aye.
And Patrick.
Patrick Murray, aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved 5-0. Next, we have open forum, public comment portion of the meeting.
Yeah, so Jesse, could I just make a quick request? So I would like to actually request that this meeting have a hard stop tonight of 11 p.m. I know we've been going late in the night till 12:30 p.m. a lot of times for most of the meetings, and I feel that it's a disservice to a lot of the civic-minded residents, our town staff, and just our fellow counselors to have the meeting go for hours on end. No, and I do understand that we're dealing with many issues. And we're tackling as a new town council, but I think we need to set more efficient parameters in place, such as limiting agenda items or continuing agenda items that are generating a lot of interest from the public to the next meeting. So if there's any items that we feel that are going to go on or we need to move up, I feel that we should do that at this time so that we can be more efficient and just have that civic engagement. And I think a lot of the members of our residents have expressed that the meetings they haven't been able to stay on long. So that's the only comment I was going to make tonight for this part of it.
Okay, is it just a comment?
Just a comment so that we can be efficient and just again, just so that we end the meeting at 11, just for the sake of time.
All right, well, if we get to 11 and the meeting's still happening, if there's a motion to continue, we'll take a vote on that. If there's not, then we won't. Or if it gets rejected, then we'll just end the meeting then. But hopefully we won't even have to do that.
I know. Hopefully, we're gonna be we're gonna be optimistic.
Well, we just shaved off 3 hours because of the agenda 27 there.
Right. All right, let's go ahead. Point taken. Open forum. So if any members of the public would like to speak on any items not on the agenda this evening, now is the time. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Dan, who do we have to start?
We have Dina DeRizzo.
Hi, Dina. Please state your full name and address.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Thank you. My name is Dina DeRuzzo. I'm on 18 Louise Avenue. I first want to thank Town Council members Susan Bornano Cicilline for emailing me this week regarding the parking on Ocean Road. And Susan, I appreciate your time and efforts, and I look forward to hearing about the progress on that. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Tonight, thank you. Tonight, I also wanted to speak on behalf of the residents in my neighborhood to bring to attention that residents in the Point Judith area are being threatened on social media due to a leak regarding the petition for motion 27. I'm very upset. As an educator, I do not promote bullying of anyone on my watch when I'm a teacher in the public classroom, nor do I approve of any bullying of any adult. This bullying, unprofessionalism, and nepotism must stop. I'm very upset, both emotionally and physically. The town council has caused a divide in a peaceful residential community neighborhood. Residents have never, nor have ever gone to any type of media, newspaper, social media, to bash, degrade, nor threaten anyone. We are all highly professional, educated, hardworking citizens who have worked to live or have an enjoyable life. It saddens me and many others in my community that this behavior is acceptable by our town council and also at times seems to aid it. I continue to ask the council to keep our neighborhood streets, i.e. Pilgrim, Connor, and Louise, safe for children, for us, and accessible for emergency vehicles on these streets. That's all we ever asked for. No one has ever blocked any right of ways in our neighborhood. We always welcomed anyone and everyone to enjoy those right of ways. Thank you very much for your time. And I hope that this behavior does not continue to be promoted. And I will report it to the police if it continues. Thank you very much.
You, Dan, who's up next?
Next is Nancy.
Hi, Nancy. Please state your full name and address.
Hi, it's Nancy DiNuccio, 8 Vanderbilt Drive in Narragansett. I'm just wondering if there's going to be any update on the RFP for the architect for the library. I mean, we're 4 months into this, since the election, and I'm just wondering when the contract's going to be awarded. There's a lot of community support for this project, and I just would like to see it get moving. And I'm just wondering what the holdup is. That's it.
Thank you, Nancy. Dan, who's up next?
Next is Stanley Wojciechowski.
Stanley, please state your full name and address and keep your comments to 3 minutes.
Stan Wojciechowski, 1044 Boston Neck Road. I want to speak about liberty and justice for all. I bought a ranch, a small beach ranch, over 40 years ago. And now I hear about, I want to enlarge that home. I want to go to that 35 feet so I can have ocean view, water view. 4 out of the 5 houses that surround me are very tall. I think 2 of them are at 35 feet. They have ocean view. And the others are large also. And now that I hear that we're gonna dictate the construction of my home, I just don't, I got 13 grandchildren, and I want as many square feet on every floor so we can all be there and enjoy the water view. And it takes away from my liberty if my neighbors can have that view and the large homes and I cannot. I know the neighbor across the street even talked to me and says, please don't build a large home and take away my view. I says, and I haven't done it for 40 years, but you know, I'm thinking about it. And I see neighbors out there now trying to stop others from getting their ocean view and pushing for preventing me from having my right, my property right, equal to my neighbors. I hope you consider not restricting me any more than my neighbors are. If they can build it, I want to be able to build it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stanley. Dan, anyone else?
Next is Catherine Siliberto.
Catherine, please state your full name and address.
Catherine's on mute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. I just wanted some clarification on the minutes you just adopted. It's number 15, continued. Amended motion by Councilor Murray, seconded by Councilor, well, I can't say your last name ever, sorry. To not advertise now, wait until the second meeting in May and do performance reviews. So I understand that you're not going to advertise for the solicitor's position, but by performance reviews, you are going to review our current solicitor and the 2 assistant solicitors in the meantime. Is this what is going to happen? I'm not quite clear about this. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
All right.
Dan, who do we have next?
Next is AKM Waters.
Hi, please state your full name and address.
Yes, it's Anne Marie Colleen Waters, and I'm at 27 Central Avenue in Narragansett. I just wanted to briefly discuss or bring to the attention of the parking dispute, which I know is not on the agenda, on Conant, Louise, and Pilgrim Avenues down in Point Judith. I believe in the right-of-way access for all citizens, visitors, and Rhode Islanders alike in the towns of Narragansett and all the surrounding towns and all of the places in our state. But I strongly disagree, as I've made clear, about the solution that town council has chosen to help provide that access. I believe the logical solution is to put parking on Ocean Road, and all 5 town council members have said that that's an unsafe option. So I know you guys are very interested in keeping our town safe from lawsuits, from various problems that would come up that would cost us money. But I'm very concerned that if the town council has stated that it's unsafe to park on Ocean Road and then does nothing about it, we're subjecting Narragansett to a horrible situation. God forbid anything should happen when the tens of thousands, dare I say hundreds of thousands of people use that road all summer long to access our lighthouse, our Fisherman's Memorial, and the various homes that go, and residents and visitors that go from homes on Point Judith to the restaurants like Aunt Carrie's and Spain's and Iggy's. I was told that we could do nothing about it because it's a state road. However, when I contacted our state representatives, they clearly stated that is the town council that needs to look into putting parking there and making that road safe. So I ask each of you, I implore you, don't employ a 1980s solution of paving paradise and putting parking lots by our right of ways. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Put the parking on Ocean Road. Make that road safe for all and maintain the beautiful natural environment that everyone, surfers included, come down to enjoy and see. Keep the environment pristine and move to make Ocean safe for parking access and for all involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne Marie. Just one comment I know Catherine kind of got cut off there before we got to answer anything, but I believe that the reviews would be for both the town solicitor and the assistant solicitors. That was my take on that, at least. So, all right. It looks like that is it for public comment. Dan, anyone else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, we have the consent agenda. Are there any items on consent that any council members would like to remove? No? All right. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Susan Cicilline Bonanno.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Patrick. All in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva?
Wojciechowski, aye.
Deb?
Deb Kopeck, aye.
And Patrick?
Patrick Murray.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved 5-0. Under new business from the finance department, we have a motion to approve the 1-year contract extension for heating fuel with Peterson's Oil Services, Inc. at their bid price of 0.1095 differential over the lowest Providence terminal tank car price as posted daily for the number 2 heating oil. The on-call hourly service rate of $95 for regular hours and the on-call hourly service rate of $125 for overtime hours under the same terms and conditions as the previous contract. Is there a motion?
I'll move the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, seconded by Eva. So this is an item that we had on the agenda a few months back. We did decide to table it while the town did a little bit of research on just some background information on the company and on the product itself. I received word back from the town manager that the test came back on the oil and it looked good because there was a story about some biofuel being mixed in with the oil. Jim, is there any additional information that you'd like to provide the council?
No, after it was tabled, after a resident had called in and made reference to an investigation that had taken place in the state of Massachusetts. There were no charges brought in that case. And in fact, everything was considered acceptable. So we did have the fuel. We had Scott Goodinson from wastewater draw some fuel. They drew fuel from Station 2 where we had some issues with the boiler, but apparently it was unrelated to the fuel. It was a high quality fuel for that purpose. And with that, and the town employees that have dealt with them have been satisfied with their service of late. So that's when it was turned back to the council, recommend that it be approved.
All right, thank you, Jim. Any questions or additional questions or comments from the council? I'll start with you, Susan.
It's just a 1-year extension. Is that what it is right now? Yes.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Eva, any questions or comments?
I do not.
All right, Deb?
The only thing is, I think one of the issues had to do with if there was an emergency and somebody was supposed to possibly attend from Peterson's, that they were relatively far away. Did we determine that that's not an issue?
They have a facility in Westerly as well that they purchased, and they've been responding between the two of them, between the Massachusetts and the Westerly one.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Patrick, any comments?
Yeah, I just had a question. Yeah, Jim, if we decided, like, say, we didn't go with Peterson and we went in the new company, since, heating, number 2 heating oil has gone up, what, 50 cents in the last 6 weeks? That'd be a big mistake anyway. So we're lucky we're locked in at that previous price.
Yes,
we'll
we'll
move-
have previous price with the
Yeah.
different.
Switch, yeah. Okay, just want to make that point. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, Dan, who do we have from the public?
We have Catherine Siliberto.
Catherine, please state your full name and address.
Catherine Celeberto, 48 Rose Court. I never suggested that Peterson was delivering cooking oil to the facilities in Narragansett, but I am still concerned that we hired a company out of Worcester, Mass. We're talking about a penny difference in per gallon cost and dollars as far as service and on-calls. And I just don't understand why we wouldn't choose a company, a local company like Smithco, which can be at any of the town facilities in minutes. And we're choosing a company out of Worcester. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And Smithco has never had any IT investigations. And if you read the entire investigation, you realize that there were a lot of dissatisfied customers who were being delivered, I don't know, cooking oil or whatever it is. So I'm just not I still don't understand why we would choose a company from Worcester, another state, when we have a local company. It makes zero sense to me with the difference in price, which is so minuscule. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Dan, who else do we have?
Next is Sydney Ghazi.
Sydney, please state your full name and address.
On mute.
Sydney, are you
Sydney's on
able to
mute.
unmute yourself? All right, we'll move on. Okay. Any other questions or comments from the council before we vote?
No.
Okay. Just to, I guess, address Ms. Celeberto's point is about the price differential. You know, like Patrick said, and the town manager confirmed, once we pull out of this existing contract and start from scratch, the prices are going to be based on current prices. So it's going to be a much bigger differential than what we're talking about here in this motion. It's going to be current prices as opposed to prices from 2 years ago. So for me, that's the factor which determines the vote. It's not worth the risk of trying to get new pricing, at least from my perspective. So why don't we go ahead and take the vote? Susan, start with you.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva,
Since aye.
Deb,
Deb Kopek, aye.
and Patrick.
Patrick Murray, aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved 5-0. Number 8 is a motion to allow the town manager to fill one clerk vacancy in the tax assessor's office due to a transfer. Is there a motion?
Motion.
All right. Is there a second?
Take it.
Second.
Second by Patrick. Any questions or comments? We'll start with you,
Yeah, I
Susan.
just want to better understand, maybe Chris or Jim. So it's a clerk that's moving from the finance department. Can you just elaborate, Chris? I just want to follow it because they're union positions. So I'm wondering why they have to be approved. I thought they would have the authority to move around within their membership. But
Well, the last one that was posted, it was for engineering, the open position.
yeah,
It didn't have the wording in there to continue to fill the position automatically.
mhm.
This motion, we've asked to fill the backfill of the tax assessor's office, which moved to engineering, and then any other openings that follow.
Susan, what happened is we had an employee that resigned, and that created a vacancy, and she worked in engineering, and that created a position in engineering. And then comes the domino effect with clerk's bid, the new positions. And eventually, we will have to replace that position because a vacancy is going to end up somewhere within probably a week.
All right, because people are moving within, they're just moving to different departments.
Correct.
Right.
As a result of someone resigning.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that will probably create an open position at some point, but further down the road.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, Eva, any questions or comments?
No, I do not have any.
All right, Deb
No.
and Patrick.
All set. Thanks, Jim.
Okay, nobody has their hand up, so let's go ahead and go to the vote. Susan,
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva,
Eva Kuczynski, aye.
Deb,
Deb Kopek, aye.
Patrick.
Patrick Murray, aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved 5-0. Number 9 for Parks and Rec is a motion to approve the 2021 contract agreement for the 44th annual Concert on the Beach with the Rhode Island Philharmonic Orchestra in the amount of $22,950 and authorizes the town manager to sign the contract after review by the town solicitor. Is there
I'll
a
move the
motion?
motion.
All right, is there a
Susan
second?
Cicilline Bonanno.
Seconded by Eva. Any questions or comments, Susan?
Yes, so this is one of the best events in the town of Narragansett, but for Steve, I know that there's a lot of events planned. We're definitely a go on this, and if not, if for some reason we're able to have it, what would happen? So I'm just curious. I'm a yes, but I just want to be the naysayer a minute, just in case.
And good evening, everyone. Yes, and so anything we put forward from here on towards the summer, along with fireworks, anything else, it's all contingent upon reopening Rhode Island and any COVID-19 restrictions. So, but we obviously have to plan, and even Dave Gaspar from the Rhode Island Philharmonic Orchestra, they're not 100% sure they can do this concert, but they're on board. They want to get out, they want to perform. But if we don't plan this and get this approved, just like we did last year, as we move forward, if things loosen up and we can pull this off, we certainly want to do this. So we've done all the numbers. It's in our enterprise budget for the beach, and so we want to be prepared. We have our sponsorship, we have our production services. That's what you see the 3 tonight, and we'd like to get approval if we possibly could.
Thank you.
Eva, any questions?
Yeah, no, this is one of my favorite events in Narragansett, so I'm really hoping that it does happen this year. So I look forward to our fingers crossed for that. Thank you.
We're going to do our very best.
Thanks.
Deb?
I echo that sentiment. It's one of my favorite things as well.
All right, Patrick?
All set. Aye. Good.
I'll ask you in a couple of minutes if you want to approve it. Dan, anyone from the public?
Yes, we have Catherine Siliberto.
Catherine, please state your full name and address.
Catherine Celeberto, 48 Earls Court. I just want to make sure that this contract has an exit clause. If for some reason, the state doesn't allow this, we can't be committed to pay them. It's going to be close to $25,000. So that is my main concern. And even with this other item agenda, $11,375, as long as we have an exit clause, then I guess the contract can be signed. But if we don't, I don't know about signing the contract now. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve, if my memory serves correct, the previous council approved this concert contingent on state and local regulations and all of that. And we didn't end up having to pay when it was canceled. So this is the same, right?
That's correct.
Same contract.
Exactly same contract, yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. Any final comments from the council? All right, let's go ahead. All in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva?
Eva Jasinski, double I.
Deb?
Deb Kopeck, aye.
And Patrick?
Now?
Yeah,
Aye.
go ahead. You're
Now?
good to go.
Okay. Aye, aye.
Thank you. Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved 5-0. Number 10 is a motion to approve the 2021 contract agreement for production support services with Bill Brackett Theatrical Productions LLC for the 44th annual Concert on the Beach in the amount of $11,375 and authorizes the town manager to sign the contract after review by the town solicitor. Is there a motion? Do
I'll move the motion, Susan Cicilline Bonanno.
we have a second? Seconded by Eva, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any comments, Susan?
All set.
Eva?
None.
Deb?
None.
Patrick?
All set.
All right. All in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva?
Eva Jasinski, I.
Deb?
Deb Kopeck, aye.
Patrick?
Aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved 5-0. Number 11 is a motion to approve the proposed sponsorship agreement with Citizens Bank for the 2021 Rhode Island Philharmonic Concert Sponsorship.
I'll
Is there
move
a
the motion, Susan Cicilline Bonanno.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Eva. Susan, any thoughts or comments?
No, thank you, citizens. I'm all set.
Eva,
None, thank you.
Deb,
I'm all set.
and Patrick.
All set.
All right. All in favor? Start with
Susan
Susan.
Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva,
The aye.
Deb,
Deb Kopeck, aye.
and Patrick.
Aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved, 5-0. Number 12 is a motion to approve the 2021 Middlebridge Marina rental slip rates at $750 per full slip and $575 for a side slip for the 2021 season. Is there a motion?
I'll move the motion, Susan Cicilline Bonanno.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Eva. Any questions or comments, Susan?
Oh, I'm all set.
Eva,
None.
Deb,
None.
and Patrick.
All set.
All right. All in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva,
Eva Jasinski, aye.
Deb,
Deb Kopeck, aye.
Patrick.
Patrick Murray, aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved, 5-0. Number 13 is a motion to approve the request from Gray Matter Marketing to conduct the 8th annual Ocean Road 10K road race to be held on Sunday, October 3rd, 2021 from 7:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., subject to state and local regulations. Is there a motion?
I'll move the motion, Susan Cicilline Bonanno.
Is there a second? Seconded by Eva. Susan, any
No,
questions
I'm
or
all
comments?
set. I'm
All
all
right.
set.
Eva,
None.
Deb,
No.
Patrick.
All set.
Steve, is this the same weekend that they do every year, or is this later?
Same weekend, and they are going to be helping out the Narragansett Historical Society once again. So it's good news, and we're all for this, and there'll be same cost, basically the same weekend. They ask for the same weekend every year.
Okay, thank you. Great. All right. All in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva,
The aye.
Deb,
Deb Kopeck, aye.
Patrick.
Patrick Murray, aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved, 5-0. Eva, it's kind of, your mic might be blocked a little bit. It's kind of hard to
Can
hear.
you hear me now?
That seems better, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Number 14, a motion to approve the request from the Narragansett Little League for their annual opening day parade to be held Saturday, May 1st, 2021 at 11 a.m., subject to state and local regulations. Is there a motion?
I'll move the motion, Susan Cicilline Bonanno.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, seconded by Eva. Susan, any questions?
No, great event as always. Yep, all set.
All right, Eva,
None.
Deb,
I'm good. Thank you.
Patrick.
All set.
All right, no comments from me either. All in favor? Start with you, Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva? Oh, can you repeat it? I couldn't hear you.
Eva Jasinski, aye.
Great. Deb
Deb Kopeck, aye.
and Patrick.
Patrick Murray, aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved, 5-0. Number 15 from Public Works is a motion to approve the purchase of one T66 Bobcat compact track loader from Clark Equipment Company, DBA Bobcat Company, and delivered from Bobcat of Rhode Island in the amount of $52,744.07 per the Sourcewell contract. Is there a motion? Is
I'll move the motion, Susan Cicilline Bonanno.
there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Eva. Any questions, Susan?
I just, it's a budgeted item, Mike. It's been budgeted, correct?
Yeah, it's a budget item.
Thank you.
All right, Eva?
No.
No. All right, Deb?
Nope. No comments.
Patrick?
All set.
All right, I'm going to call the vote. All in favor? Susan?
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva?
Eva Jasinski, aye.
Deb?
Deb Kopeck, aye.
And Patrick?
Patrick Murray, aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved 5-0. From engineering, number 16 is a motion to accept the qualifications proposals for various professional engineering and surveying services firms in order to create a master list for upcoming capital improvement projects. Is there a motion?
I'll move the motion, Susan Cicilline Bonanno.
And do we have a second? All right. Seconded by Eva. So I'm gonna, is John Gerhart on? Hey, John, how you doing?
Hi, Jesse. Thank you. I'm here.
Great. Could you give us a little bit of an explanation on the intent of this?
Yes, this is a master list of engineering firms that we can draw from for specific proposals, so that we don't have to go out with, so that we can pick pick consultants based on their qualifications and their areas of expertise, rather than just sending out blanket proposals and getting 15 or 20 in where people may or may not be qualified. So we sent this out. This was just a request for qualifications, and the firms in the backup with the blue sheet, there's a listing there where the firms state what services that they will offer, and we're going to accept those qualifications. And then if we have a project, say, a roadway project that we wanted to work on, we would go to somebody we would pick 2 or 3 firms that have transportation roadway experience, get a detailed proposal from them for that project, and then select them from there. So this is just so that we don't have to, we have a pool of qualified consultants to draw from if and when we have projects to work with.
Okay, so we'll still continue to get bids as we always do, multiple bids. It's just that we're going to be going to a list of pre-vetted vendors just to be more efficient.
Yes, we've done this in the past. This isn't the first time that this project has been here, and we've had and the way the public bidding laws or the public solicitation laws are for engineering services and professional services, that they are not bound by the low bidding process, where like we would have with a construction project, because you want to base it on people that are qualified for the work. So we're vetting the qualifications ahead of time, and then we have a list where we can select 2 or 3 to get a proposal from when we have a project in particular that we're going to work with. And again, right now, we just want to have the pool to draw from, and then we put together the detailed proposals when we have a project to work with.
Okay.
John, can I
Go ahead,
ask
Sue.
a question? Oh, so if I'm not on the list, do I not have an opportunity to bid, or that's just a helpful way for you have an efficient list? But if somebody's not on the list, they can still bid right on the bidding.
No, they
wall.
won't. It'll be a closed solicitation process for the next set of projects. What they did, they also provided their billing rates, which we have, so we can reference that in case. But again, you're not bound by the low bidder in the professional services world. This is a similar format that we used in fact, with the library project. We went to we had vetted the consultants out based on the original proposals that the library received about a year ago. We shortlisted a few firms from that and received proposals from specific qualified firms, and then we vet those out and we'll negotiate price with those on the follow-up process.
Okay.
It's not the same as the construction bidding and going with a low dollar bid. You have to evaluate the qualifications, because and that's why we did this. Some of these firms just do waterworks, some do water and wastewater works, some do mostly transportation work or environmental and remediation work. So we have not knowing what the projects we may come upon in a calendar year, we have a list of firms where we can utilize those qualifications and draw from the most qualified vendors.
All right, and the town solicitor would say that this is fine. We're not, doing anything. It's legal and it's fine to do that, because
Exactly. Yes.
Sure, it's a limited process, right?
Yes, it's essentially, it's the opposite of the construction bidding process. And that's why we have to do it this way, because if we go out, the public solicitation laws don't really allow you to ask for a price from professional consultants ahead of time. So you really can't bid it the same way as a construction project or a service contract or something like that, like like our fuel oil contract or one of those items. You have to go through the qualifications-based selection process as part of it. So we're doing the major portion of the qualifications vetting with this award here, and then as a project comes up, we look to see 2 or 3 firms that we want to pick from that to get detailed proposals from. And if we don't like the number, we can move to the next one.
Okay, thanks.
Eva, any questions?
No.
All right, Deb?
Yeah, I just want to make sure. So the list that you provided is going to be winnowed down more, or that is the list that you're going to be able to select your, select an organization from?
Yes, that's the list that we'll select from. These are the only firms we'll pick from, and then we would pick from this, 2 or 3 to get a proposal from when we have a specific project in mind.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Patrick, any questions?
No, I'm all set. Thanks, John. Thank you.
John, can I just ask one other question? So that's the list, but say down the road, you've learned of a really excellent company. Could you add to that list, or is that the list? And I just worry about people not having the opportunity to bid on something. So is that closed? They won't have an opportunity? Or if a new company came along that was excellent, that did that kind of work, that you would then put them on the list?
I believe we have the flexibility to go outside of this list, but generally, if you notice in the blue sheet, we only passed it out to 18 firms that had been on. We had used shortlisted previously, and we got 24 results. So the word got out. This was out there. There's not a whole lot of firms that do this type of work. And we're confident that we've got the big players and the major players for most of the services that we may need to fill.
Good enough. Thank you.
All right, Dan, who do we have from the public?
We have Catherine Ciliberto.
Catherine, please state your full name and address.
Catherine Ciliberto, 48 Earls Court. I'd just like to know who the "we" is that Mr. Gebhardt is referring to. Is his office going to pick a particular firm to do a project? Well, I don't want to say arbitrarily, and your office would have the final say, or would it go to the town council next for approval? Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Yes.
John, if you're free to answer that if you'd like.
Yes, I can respond to that. I apologize for using the collective "we." The way this process would work is if a department has a need for a project, they would come to engineering and discuss the project with us. Engineering would work with that department to develop a request for proposals for that specific project. We would release that would be issued to 2 or 3 firms. We would provide the list of firms and the detailed qualifications package if they want to review those on their own as well to select the firms. Then we would review those proposals with the department, and the recommendation for award would be presented to the town council. So the contract ultimately comes back to town council for award.
Thank you, John. All right, why don't we go ahead and take the vote, unless there's any last questions from the council? Anything? Nope. Everyone good? All right, all in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva?
Jasinski, aye.
Deb?
Deb Kopek, aye.
Patrick?
Patrick Murray, aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved 5-0. Number 17 from Community Development Department is the motion to authorize the town manager to sign an adopt-a-spot renewal agreement with the following individuals for the indicated locations: Crooked Brook, Able Landscaping, David Avedision. Is there a motion?
I'll move the motion, Susan Cicilline Bonanno.
All right, do we have a second?
A second.
All right, seconded by Eva. Any questions or comments? Susan?
No, I'm all set, thanks.
Eva?
Nope.
Deb?
Just thanks to Dave Avedisian for doing this.
Patrick?
All set. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks,
All
Dave.
right. Thank you, Dave. All in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva?
Lichtenstein, aye.
Deb?
Deb Kopak, aye.
Patrick?
Patrick Murray, aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved 5-0. Number 18 is a motion from the town council. It's a motion to approve the establishment of a Narragansett Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Awareness IDEA Committee, which will consist of 6 members, including 1 member of the town council. Is there a motion?
I'll move the motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Deb. So this is from Councilor Bonanno. So Susan, do you want to start?
So first I want to say, Alicia Henry Vignali, if she's in the audience, I don't want to take credit for, we worked together, and I just wanted to know if she could speak on the motion.
Yeah, I know that you had mentioned that you guys had collaborated on this. So why don't we go ahead and go right to her so she can kind of expand on it. Dan?
She should be ready.
All right, Alicia, please state your welcome and please state your full name and address.
Oh, hi there. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Perfect. My name is Alicia Vignali Henry, and I'm at 660 Point Judith Road.
All right, and we're not going to limit your time because we have you on as a panelist for this. So go ahead and take your time, if you want to explain the committee.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Well, I shouldn't be too long, but good evening to the town council, and thank you to Councilwoman Cicilline Bonanno for putting this motion to establish the Narragansett Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Awareness Committee on tonight's town council agenda. I am honored to have had the opportunity to contribute to this proposal. Similar advisory committees have been formed in cities and towns across the country and here in Rhode Island, and have yielded positive and measurable results. With the help of our passionate and invested residents, Narragansett can create a catalyst that drives progress through social and environmental dimensions throughout the town. While I was prepared to speak on everything that this committee is, I feel like it's important to take a minute just to say what it isn't. This committee isn't going to take anything away from anyone. It isn't going to overreach into or monitor government or divide the community. This committee and others like it are fundamentally designed to do the exact opposite, to complement those who have always been included with those who may have been overlooked, to offer guidance and encourage community governance based on lived experiences and bring people together to learn from one another. There always have been laws and policies that keep us apart. This intentional work is to counter those barriers and promote and nurture an environment where people feel safe, welcome, and can thrive. This is the start of respectful conversations of learning and growing and community enrichment that will accommodate the diversifying needs of our neighbors and visitors. Narragansett is an absolutely beautiful historical town with a diverse population that is very unique because it changes right along with the seasons. We can evaluate ourselves and make a conscious effort to ensure all of our members in the community have equitable access to our resources. I, for one, know being critical of yourself is never easy, but it is very important. Matters are often brought to your attention that don't directly affect you, but have a profound impact on others. Their experiences and their solutions are important, and they deserve a platform to be heard. I am safe from hurtful language and outdated ingrained beliefs that at times impact my multicultural, biracial, immigrant-infused family, but I'm not immune to the pain and the fear it causes. I, like most of us, have vowed to protect my family. The establishment of this committee will send the message that the residents of Narragansett will do the same for our current families, our prospective residents, and our visitors. It's our responsibility to look around and see who isn't sitting at our table and make a genuine and respectful effort to get them a seat. I'm inspired by the ideals of this town and very proud to be raising my family here. Narragansett can become a model of an intentionally inclusive community where the inherited worth and difference of each individual is valued and utilized. Encouraging multicultural neighborhoods and enriching our conversations will ultimately provide all of us with new and exciting ways to experience the world around us and in the end, show us how much we as humans and neighbors have in common. Thank you all so much. I'm very excited for this proposal.
Beautiful job, Alicia.
Thank you, Alicia.
Well, thank you.
Okay, we'll definitely go to the public after the council speaks. I'm going to go around the council for a first round of commentary. Susan, was there anything else you wanted to say?
Oh, no, I mean, I think she just did a beautiful job explaining what it is and what it isn't. And so, again, this is our first, proposal here. So obviously, I'm open to, conversation about it, what people like about the motion, what they don't, what it could be. But I'm just grateful to have this conversation to talk about a committee that's going to just provide fairness and diversity and equity for the town of Narragansett. I think it's long overdue, and I look forward to having that kind of work happen.
Thank you. Eva.
Yeah, so thank you. So I did see this on the agenda when I got my packet. So I'm just very curious for the conversation, and I'm interested in hearing everyone's perspective. So I'm going to wait to hear everybody, but I thank Alicia for that really wonderful presentation. And again, I'm going to listen with open ears, and thank you for putting this on the agenda.
Thanks, Eva. Deb.
I'd also like to thank Alicia. I think she did a lovely job, and I think she is incredibly heartfelt. I'm always looking forward to another opportunity to learn and be educated about things that I may not know as well as I could. So thank you, Alicia. Thank you, Susan.
All right, Patrick.
Okay, yeah, I got several questions. There's a lot in this package. It's quite a agenda here. First of all, I got several questions. Who do I ask the question? Do I ask you, Susan, about questions, or
Sure, you can.
Alicia?
Yeah, you can ask.
Ask you the questions. Okay. First of all, Bristol, the town of Bristol went through this in January.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that study.
And a group, it was 17 constituents who wanted to put a similar idea action plan committee together. And they met with the town solicitor several times to hammer out an agenda item. I don't know what the hurry is to get an up and down vote on this. I mean, this is these bullet points are pretty deep and broad based.
Patrick,
I don't.
Your first thing about the attorney, I did email the solicitor today, Andrew, to ask him to review it. So there's no big hurry for me. I certainly think it's worth the conversation. If having the attorney looks at it is something that would make you feel more comfortable, that certainly can happen. Go ahead. Sam.
Well, I looked it over, and to me, it conflicts with our code of ethics. I mean, a lot of that what's in this second sheet, the description, the ideas in action, are already in our town charter. There is inclusion, there is diversity in there. I mean, it's Article 16 and I don't know, it just seems that it's already here in the town charter. So I don't know. I mean, Susan, has there been a diversity problem? I haven't noticed. I mean, is there a diversity issue out there? Has there been a complaint?
No, I mean, I think this committee speaks to awareness and education and opportunity and diversity. So, again, we live right near the university. There's opportunity to encourage diversity, to celebrate it, to people to be educated. I'm not saying there's a problem with it, Patrick. I'm just saying it's an opportunity.
Right. But I mean, the thing is, I think you're trying to fix something that to me, there's nothing wrong. I mean, I grew up here. My family's been here since the late 1800s. And
Me as well.
and I don't see a racial divide. I don't see people being harassed. I don't see, issues that, demand a special committee. Because I looked and see what other cities and towns were doing. And some of it, the committees broke up and fell apart because there was really nothing to do. Others, they had like enforcement officers or compliance officers that represent the town. But I really think there's a conflict with this, with our town charter. So, all right, so where's the Chief Corrigan? Can you speak for a minute? Chief around? He's got to be around. Might be on a call. Oh, there he is. Okay. Chief, has there been any complaints along this type of anti-diversity crimes or something like that in your memory?
No, we haven't had any discrimination complaints at all.
Right. And the police department just went through sensitivity training, correct?
We've been doing a lot of training of different sorts.
Right.
As I went through on that town presentation.
Right.
On our 20 promises for 2020.
That's correct. That's correct. So I mean, I think this is being addressed at different levels on the town, Susan, I just think, we're already working on this and we're updating our, to what's, evolving. And this is an evolving situation. And I think the town's addressing it very well. James, what do you think? Have we been attacking this non-problem head on, or?
I have not received any complaints. Doesn't mean that they don't exist, but I haven't received any. And we just recently distributed to the council the hiring practices to show how we do it in town now. And so that all the council be aware of it.
We got a human resource department. She follows federal and state guidelines and town charter, correct?
We do.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I just don't know what they're going to do, Susan. Can you explain what they're going to do?
Well, if you look at the ideas in action, you can read some of the engage the community in informational showcases. I mean, it's all spelled out there, Patrick. I mean,
yeah, well, I know, but that's what I don't understand. I mean, it sounds good, but it doesn't seem like there's an actual plan. It's to me, it's very convoluted. I mean, launch an aggressive Residents Against Racism campaign that brings residents, business, and government services together in making Narragansett a safe, welcoming, and enriching community. Resident Against Racism campaign. Against who? Who's the campaign for? I just this is a head scratcher for me. And then it drafts policies. Research recommend and draft policy for education, training, unbiased social justice, cultural literacy for town employees. We're going to have a committee rewrite. Again, to me, this is like rewriting the chart. This is pretty deep stuff here. You're going to rewrite the behavior for town employees, how they interact.
So that actually, that bullet where it says to develop and review, we could actually strike that out. We could, and no offense to Alicia's great work with me, but we could actually take that out if that's an uncomfortable. This is no way going to take away the authority of the manager, of the town staff. This is a committee that's going to embrace, teach awareness, celebrate. So
Susan, I think everybody's aware. Okay. I don't think nobody in the town is not aware that nationally there are issues out there. And our town is addressing it through programs, through updated, the 2020 program with our chief of law enforcement, a town manager. We have been updating this. We are aware. So I guess we can check that one off. But the school curriculum. So exactly what does that entail?
Which one?
The school curriculum. We're going to add programs to the school?
Well, they already have this going on the school side. They
Correct.
have a committee. They already do.
Correct.
Many other towns have committees, as you mentioned, Patrick.
Right.
So that's
But
already.
are they gonna change the curriculum? Are they gonna add, diversity?
Civic-minded youth, maybe. I don't know. I think they're trying to roll that out in every curriculum across the country.
Right. But it's up to the town council to, it just seems like we're. Is there a list for this committee?
No. You mean, there's 6 members. Do we have a list of what?
Of members who people want to join?
We don't, it's not
Isn't
even.
this just a proposal? Yeah,
I
it's just a
know
proposal
what
for a
it is.
committee.
But I was just wondering if there's anybody waiting in the wings.
I have no idea.
I do have a few questions as well. Patrick, you mind if I jump in? Or do you want to?
Well, go ahead.
I have one question that I think might answer all of these, not all of them, but some of these questions just in general. Correct me if I'm wrong, but just like most of the other committees in town, none of the recommendations or initiatives that this committee may form will be binding. It always goes to the town council for approval, correct?
Correct.
All right, so there's not going to be a runaway committee implementing policies that aren't approved by the council. That's just the way that they all work. And when we talk about, so that's the one thing. So I don't know if that helps, Patrick, because you've asked a couple of times if they're going to change things or put policy in place, but they can't really. It's recommendations. It's how it always works.
Well, this is a hot potato. This is nationally a hot potato. And to invoke a committee that makes representation, makes recommendations, and the councilman who votes against it or says, now we got to do something with that. I mean, it's town charter, section 16.25, 16 tac 2 tac 2 tac 5, intervening on behalf of constituents and friends. Those who intervene should firmly, explicitly, and ambiguously convey, sorry for my French here, convey their limited proposals to reduce the possibility of direct or indirect pressure on administrators. So if some future council doesn't go along with a compliance officer walking into a business and why isn't your diversity poster on the wall? I mean, to me, it's just, this is an overreach from the town charter. And I think what we're doing is we're trying to circumvent our authority and our town charter. I mean, we're elected officials. If we implement some type of policy, that's what elections are about. That's what the recall's about. We just went through 2 years of tyranny. It seems to me we're trying to set up another fiefdom, it sounds great, awareness, diversity. I mean, listen, I'm on board with that. I mean, I'm Mr. Diverse myself, but I mean, let's break this down. Inclusion. So under the inclusion provision, which is broad-based, so would we be including students, Susan? Would students be in this category? So if students are in this category, because, where does it say? Identity of specific sub-communities within Narragansett, women-owned businesses, Caribbean diaspora, differently able individuals, LBGQ community, IDEA members will be appointed to contact and voices represented community. Okay, but it also says, let me see, where was it? Hang on a minute. All right, the question is, would students be in the inclusion? I mean, so are we going to get rid of the 3 and 4 unrelated policy? Because under this policy, we would have to wipe out the 3 student and 4 student rental policy.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't even know how you do that conclusion. How you?
Well, if we're including everybody,
Yeah.
Students.
Everybody has a voice. We're including everybody to have a voice.
Right.
Young, old, middle-aged, students, kids, whatever.
I know that, but we have a policy that specifically singles out URI students or students, college students. Under this doctrine, right, we're in violation of this
No,
committee.
we're not.
Well, I don't know.
No.
Jesse, maybe you can help me.
This is a committee. I mean, it's not that there's no authority to do anything to students.
I know this, but what you're setting up is Jesse, please help me with this.
Okay. You want me to speak?
Yes.
Helpful.
Maybe you can explain it to me.
Sure. Well, I'll explain how I guess the way I'm perceiving the item. I didn't really think of it as a authoritarian group that was going to put laws in place in town or anything, really any sort of power. It's an advisory committee that'll do brainstorming. We'll kind of try to put together some initiatives to send to the council, work with different groups in the town so everyone kind of has a voice. But the part for me that I think is, for me, the most interesting and the most needed, maybe not the most needed, but I think it is needed, is the diversity part. Just generally, Narragansett is not a diverse town. It's not. That's not an insult to anybody. It's not calling anyone a bigot or anything. This is just the reality. Look at the stats. Narragansett is 95% white. That's what it is. You can't deny that. It's generally one religion. It has a very high income, tax bracket at this point. It's not diverse. Do we want it to be? I think most people do. I think you would agree that you'd like to have diversity in town. But it's not going to happen on its own. And it might not even happen with a group like this because it's something that's really hard to do. But I think we should try to do that. And the things that I see this committee doing, just for reading through, when you see these bullets, we know that these are not all going to get done. This is not a mission statement that has to be followed to the T. It's just ideas that have come up that might be nice for them to do, or maybe they'll have their own initiatives. But this is Narragansett that is now less than 1% Native American and doesn't have a annual celebration for Native Americans in town. So maybe this committee could work on something like that, putting something like that together. I just don't see the fear of something like this.
Oh, there's no fear. I'm just asking questions. I mean, it took us what, 5 years and half the family fortune to get the 4 unrelated. I just want to know where this is going. Okay, I mean, is this going to be an ad hoc committee? Is this for certain goals? I mean, it just seems this document is just so broad based. This could mean anything. I mean, it states drafting policy for schools, town staff, businesses. I mean, that's rewrite. Listen, this document here, this attachment, to me, it seems like you're trying to change the whole way of life in Narragansett. And listen, I'm fine with it. I'm a libertarian, And you know, I mean, there's some things I wouldn't mind, like the beach. I've been saying for years. Let's pay the bubble for walking on the beach, but pay for parking. That's inclusive, right? Anybody can walk on the beach, town beach. That's inclusive, right? That's diverse. I'm for that. And you pay for parking. Instead of paying 20, 25 for parking, pay 50. I'm a libertarian on some of these issues. I'm kind of excited about that one. But in that case, I don't think you should stop there. I think the whole cabana should be a lottery system. I brought that up a few years ago. I think every year should have a lottery. And to be all inclusive, I think you should have subsidized cabanas based on income. So, I mean, to me, this is what we're trying to do here, and that's fine. And get rid of the 4 students, because you got to include them because they're in town. You talk about diversity, but you don't want to include the students. So we don't need a compliance officer for the students anymore. We need a compliance officer to enforce his policy. And events. We just approved a
Not
concert
a
on the beach.
policy. Patrick, it's not a policy. It's a
Listen, I am just reading what is put in this document, okay?
And the word, I believe the word was draft.
Yes, but
So
draft
it's up to-
everything that we do. And then in the mission statement, the word that sticks out in the mission statement is authentic. So everything we've been doing for the last 130 years is not authentic?
What's the name of this town, Patrick?
Town of Narragansett.
Yeah.
So I just think this is a big overreach. I think a lot of these issues, I think the town is moving in the right direction. I mean, events, we just approved a concert. I think we should set aside, 10% tickets to people who need them and want to come to the concert, may not afford it.
It's free.
Well, it's $5 a pop.
Not where I park.
Yeah.
Should we go to the public?
We're gonna get you towed this year.
Guys, should we go to the public? We'll come back.
Yes.
All right, why don't we go to the public, get some commentary, we'll come back for another round. Dan, who are we starting with?
First, we have Stanley Wojciechowski.
Hi, Stanley, please state your full name and address. And keep your comments to 3 minutes, please.
Dan Wojciechowski, 1044 Boss Neck Road. Again, I want to talk about liberty and justice for all, everyone. And I sense that people, all our actions should be based on all the promotions, opportunities should be based on qualifications. Test. People get ahead or go for, they should get a position, or say they should get where they get a promotion. They should be recognized based on their qualifications, and that should be based on testing, not diversity, but by academic testing of some sort. So I get a feeling that there may be this may be moving towards a situation where we will use diversity as a condition of success, getting a position, getting promoted, whatever happens. And really we should do based on qualifications. And I guess the worst thing that comes in my mind here is that on that committee, I would assume that we would have a Black Lives Matter person there to guarantee diversity. And I feel this may be moving in that direction and further cause this town to engage in more fighting, if you will. Therefore, I'm worried. Thank you.
Dan, who do we have next?
Next, we have Alex Menzies.
Hi, Alex. Please state your full name and address.
Can you all hear me?
We can hear you.
There's-
Oh, perfect. Alex Menzies, 175 Indian Trail. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I just want to say I fully support the creation of this diversity committee in our town. I think this is a great educational opportunity and a platform for members in this community to learn from each other and to grow. This is not a new idea either. There are already other towns in the state that are looking at creating a diversity committee or already have them in place. I highly recommend that everyone look at Cranston, who currently has a town diversity commission, public schools, Narragansett and Barrington, many businesses and corporations, and colleges have been creating diversity committees. URI has a diversity week in place where it is encouraged for people of all backgrounds to come together and to, quote, celebrate the importance of diversity and identity in higher education, the workplace, the community, and the world. I personally enjoyed attending these workshops, events, and seminars. The creation of this important committee should not be viewed as being political. Instead, it should be looked at with a different lens. The creation of this committee is not meant to create a problem, but rather to invite all members in the community to embrace new ideas and new perspectives. This is not an overreach of government, nor is this committee going to force anyone to think one way about anything. In fact, it is the complete opposite. It is instead a way that encourages people to consider multiple ideas and views. I genuinely believe that this is a great educational and enlightening opportunity for this community to become more aware about members in this community and the world they are living in. It is important to note that it is okay for people to disagree on things. The wonderful thing about diversity and this idea of liberty and justice for all is that there is no one single standard in any form. I believe the goal of this committee is to act in an advisory role to encourage people to consider other points of view, new perspectives, other ideas in which they may not have done so before, to build awareness and respect. It is my hope that you will all consider approving this educational opportunity for our town and the creation of this new committee. Thank you all.
Sorry, Dan, I was on mute. Thank you, Alex. Dan, who do we have next?
Next, we have BG Valadari.
Bridget Valverde. Hey, Bridget, please state your full name and address.
Hi there, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Hi there, this is Senator Bridget Valverde. I am not a Narragansett resident, but I do represent Narragansett in the state Senate. So I just wanted to come on here today and thank Councilor Cicilline Bonanno for proposing this motion tonight. In the 3 other towns that I represent, there have recently been some great efforts by community groups to address racial disparities and inclusiveness in education policies and help residents and local government become more aware of inequities and become more intentionally inclusive in public policies. So I'm very happy to see that other vulnerable populations are also specifically mentioned in this proposal, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Actively being inclusive takes a lot of work and needs to be intentional. So I'm proud that Narragansett is looking to take this step. Thanks.
Thank you. Dan, who's up next?
Next is Gina Jarama.
Hi, Gina, please state your full name and address. You are on mute right now.
Hello, can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, Gina Drama, 99 Salter Avenue. I'm calling to support this motion as a person who's been marginalized and as a parent of brown-skinned boys. I know that this town does need some support in this area, and it's not just about race. It's about inclusiveness across the workplace, in our neighborhoods. And so, as a teacher, we're doing this in the schools. We talk about things like implicit bias and microaggression, but it's in small pockets. And so as this becomes part of the public forum, I mean, whether we make it formal or not, it's something that the community does need to talk about. And so, I know it sounds, well, it sounds almost stereotypical, but it's typically the white men who say, well, we don't have a problem, but maybe it's because they've never experienced it. And so, I'd like you to think about like your neighbors and the people you don't really know. Like, have you ever walked in their shoes? Do you know what it feels like to have to really struggle? And so those are the ideas that I hope that you can think about as you move forward. It's not meant to be one group or another. It's meant to be thoughtful and non-judgmental. I mean, that's how I read it. And so I'd really think that the discussion needs to happen, whether it's formal or not. And I appreciate you doing this work. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan, who's up next?
Next is Dr. Melissa Jenkins.
Melissa, please state your full name and address.
Hey, good evening, councilors. Good evening, residents of Narragansett. I also support this measure, and I want to thank Councilor Cicilline Bonanno for putting it forward. As you all seem to have forgotten, the town of Narragansett currently does face a discrimination complaint for its employment practices. You all conveniently seem to have forgotten about that, but you're currently being investigated by the Human Rights Commission for not using best practices. So I think that you do need education. The entire town needs education on this matter. And as I look at the relatively non-diverse faces in front of me, I would suggest as respectfully as I can that you don't know what you don't know. And there are residents in town who do feel that they are discriminated against, that they are marginalized, as Gina said, and that you're unaware of this because you're not experiencing it. So I strongly urge you to put this committee in place. It is needed, whether or not you have personally experienced it. I assure you that it is needed. It is being done in other cities and towns with good effectiveness. And it teaches us what we don't know and gives a voice to the community residents who are experiencing discrimination that can let you know what their experience is about. So thank you for putting this forward, and I do hope that you will pass this and put it in place.
Dan, who do we have up next?
Next is Dr. Alba.
Al, please state your full name and address.
Yes, Dr. Al Alba, 24 Eagles Nest Terrace, Narragansett, Rhode Island. I, for 31 years, have worked in Department of Corrections, state of Rhode Island. I've worked with people who have been incarcerated. So I'm very empathetic and very knowledgeable about people who have been discriminated against and how people of mixed colors and African Americans, Hispanics. However, to create a problem or to perceive there's a problem where I don't really, in Narragansett, we heard the chief, we had policies in place. When this was originally put up as an announcement, people said, well, I think this policy is going to be good because when the town manager got hired, the town council did not follow proper protocol. So this here is going to put a stop to that. Now, this is what's perceived as the main purpose for this particular group or diversity. I think what we have to do is we have to look at the bullet points. As Patrick said, I think he was spot on in a lot of ways. Let's put a hold on this now. Let's look at, we can't have a committee put in place where some of these bullet points, in my eyes, are overreaching. Because when you have things which are overreaching, then we could have a system of political correctness. And then we could have perceived in Narragansett that we do have discrimination in a lot. We have racism. We have people, we have a town council that is not empathetic and caring towards other people. And I think that's setting a dangerous precedent. So I think we should not have to rush onto this right now. Let's have a town solicitor. Let's have a meeting of the minds, okay? So that we can relook at this here, so that it doesn't have to get rushed through tonight. So that way there we can have this committee formed for if people feel that, we can create it so that, it's not going to overreach or people aren't going to perceive that it's going to overreach bylaws that are already in place. as the chief said, and as town manager, we already have things in place to ensure that when we have hiring practices, people aren't going to be discriminated against. Now, if that ever happened before, I don't know if that ever happened before, or case in point, I have no idea. But what I'm trying to say is right now we do have policies in place to prevent discrimination. And we have not, the police chief said he has not had any incidents of racism, So I'm all into supporting minorities, and for someone to say that they're in the United States of America, we don't have racism, we don't have George Floyd. There are plenty of people, more than just George Floyd. They got killed. There were many.
Now you're
African
at 3 minutes.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is let's put this on hold for now. Let's take a step back. There's no rush to have this approved overnight. Let's have the bullet items relooked at and re-examined. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Dan, who do we have next?
Next, we have Sue Maruso.
Sue, please state your full name and address.
Yep. Hi, Sue Ann Maruso, 111 West Bay Drive. I just want to say I think it's a great idea to have this committee. It's a committee. It's just going to provide a discussion start. It's not going to be passing, as some of you have pointed out already. It's not going to be passing any ordinances or laws or anything. It's just going to bring recommendations to the community, not just to the town council, but to the community. And we are a very homogeneous group here in Narragansett. And I think sometimes we're just not aware of things. And I think this committee would help bring awareness to those of us that maybe just need some reminders of diverse populations. And I also think that perhaps we should appreciate the differences of the different groups that we have in our town that are minorities, and, as visitors or as residents. So I just think it's a great idea, and I think we should put it in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan, who's up next?
Next, we have Sydney Ghazi.
Sydney, please state your full name and address.
Hi there, Sydney Ghazi, 35 Caliph Ave in Narragansett. I completely support the diversity committee. I think this is a wonderful thing for our town. I think bringing education and recommendations to our town and to walk in the shoes of those that do not experience the same things that we do in our homogenous community is a very good thing. I cannot agree 100% more with the original speaker when she said that while decisions that the town council make may not affect the Narragansett community at large, decisions on this issue directly affect those homeowners and residents who live in this area or in this community. One thing that I can tell you is to be diverse means that you can understand. And when you can understand, then you can encourage inclusion. And while we may not understand everything, I think this committee is going to be a great addition to our town. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan, who do we have next?
Next, we have Elena DeMario.
Alana, please state your full name and address.
She needs to come in as a panelist. She's got an old version of Zoom.
Oh, hi there. Oh, I get on camera. All right.
Special treatment.
I was not expecting that. So my name is Alana DeMario, 47 Tupelo Trail, Narragansett. I am also serving as the state senator for District 36, which includes the northern part of Narragansett. And I am speaking tonight in support of the IDEA Committee. And I want to just thank Councilwoman Bonanno for putting this motion forward and for the council's consideration. The IDEA Committee seeks to simply find out if there are people whose voices are missing in the conversations we have about what happens in our town at all levels, from schools to recreation to businesses. In considering this, please think about this process we are engaging in right now, public comment and testimony. The process of asking for input from people who are affected by an issue is central to how decisions get made, as it should be. The IDEA Committee looks to identify and eliminate barriers to full participation and civic engagement by intentionally ensuring that voices who historically have not been heard now will be. We can't be afraid of asking what we could do better. People are the experts on their own lives and their own experiences, so we can only strengthen our town and our community by seeking to learn from our friends and neighbors and improve our town's institutions by making sure they are serving everyone. As someone who spent the summer knocking on doors and speaking with our community, there are voices in our town who don't feel like their needs are currently represented. When we know better, we do better. The IDEA Committee will help us know what we need to do in order to do better for all. So I will just say thank you again for your consideration on this. I did want to write down my remarks because otherwise I would go on and on and on forever. So I appreciate your time and your consideration. And I also do want to thank Alicia Henry for all of her work on this proposal.
Thanks, Alana. All right, Dan, anyone else?
That's it.
Oh,
Whoop.
there is one more, right?
Yep, she just put her hand up. Catherine Celebrato.
Catherine, please state your full name and address.
Catherine Celebrato, 48 Earls Court. First, I'd like to say that Alicia and my daughter are friends. She's a very educated young woman with a diverse range of experience. She ran a program, an educational program for children in Guyana. I don't think half the people in this town could find Guyana on a map. Closer to home, I'm sitting here trying to think that since Jesse mentioned this, when was the last time this town did anything to recognize the history of the Narragansetts in our town? The fact that they founded our town. I really can't think of any time. And just that says to me, maybe we need to have a discussion about all of this. And I didn't know this was going to be on the agenda, but I was going to speak tonight about the hiring practices in the town. I think we have 3 vacancies at this point. I've mentioned this in the past, that I think the town needs to get out there and recruit different age groups, different races, different people. The police and fire department are making some inroads in this area. But when I go in town hall, I see women in traditional female occupations. I see men in traditional male occupations, the DPW and other departments. And I'd like to see, since we have, I think, 3 vacancies, that there is some recruitment done to get more diversity into the workforce. But I don't feel threatened by this at all. Frankly, I'm not sure if there is racism in this town. I'm sure there is racism everywhere. And I don't know how severe it is, but it would be good to find out, wouldn't it? Maybe some people who didn't want to speak up in the past weren't about to call the police department and say, hey, I've been discriminated against. Maybe they'll speak up if there's a committee that they know they can go to and speak freely to. So I just don't see any reason why this can't go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Dan, anyone else?
Next is Chris Schaefer.
Chris, please state your full name and address.
Hi, this is Chris Schaefer at 33 Old Pine Road. Yeah, as a middle-aged white guy, what I see that this is doing is providing a signal to everyone that their voices want to be heard by leadership. And I think that's a really important, just a signal that their voices want to be heard and be encouraged to come to the table versus being excluded. And I think that's a huge important step in what's being proposed here. So I just want to add that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Dan, I think Stanley spoke on this already.
I believe he did.
Okay. All right. So we will close the public comment portion of the motion. Let's go around the council one more time and take some final comments. Susan?
Well, I think it was great to hear from some of the public tonight because it was reinforcing the idea that we have before us tonight. So I'm happy about that. And, again, it's the beginning. It's not, those actions are a list of ideas, but I think the concept and the idea behind it is something that will really make this community inclusive. And I'm hoping that we'll have passage. And like I said, I had sent it to the attorney, Mr. Berg, to take a look at, because if we need to tighten something up, it hasn't, we haven't even selected members, but I'm open to making sure it works for the town, and never was the intent to ever do anything that undermines the authority of the manager, the council. This is a group of people that want to make sure, as everybody has said tonight, that their voices in this community can be heard and that we can all live together. And so I think it's a great time, and I hope that the council will support it.
Thank you, Susan. Eva.
So I did enjoy hearing all the council's comments, the public comments. And like Susan said, this is a draft. I think there is opportunity to tighten up language. I did initially have concerns that there was a governance and policy part that would be affected. So I just wanted to make sure that that wasn't going to be the issue. I also think that it's important to run it by council to ensure that, you know, the intent is there, that the, you know, what, you know, Susan and Alicia had intended for this policy to be, or this committee to be, is actually what it is. So those are my comments.
Thank you, Eva.
I just want to say that I spent a lot of time over the last several years educating myself through books and all sorts of different kinds of media to better understand what I don't know about people who I'm not. And I've learned a great deal, and I've seen a great deal that happens when people don't take that opportunity to learn. So I think this is a wonderful opportunity for people to become more knowledgeable, and hopefully it supports Narragansett in ways that we can't even imagine just yet.
Thank you, Deb. Patrick?
Okay, for the record, as a merchant officer in the Merchant Marine, I've been to many states, many countries, and to try being a northerner down south in the middle of Cameron, Louisiana, with a bunch of Southerners there, and you know, at first, you know, I've had, you know, issues. I've had, you know, people say things to me that wasn't pleasant. So I've experienced, and I have empathy for people. All right. I just don't like, as a conservative, I don't like expanding government. Okay. And I'm afraid this is going to get away from us. I see what you're trying to do. Now, where's Terry? Terry, correct me if I'm wrong. She's still here?
I don't see her.
Oh, okay. She probably ran off.
Tonight.
There she is.
I'm here.
All right. Isn't our town charter up for review?
Yes, there've been quite a few amendments recently.
Right.
Need to incorporate the ones from 2012 and then from the voter initiatives.
Right. So
those
we have a
charter
charter review due. It's every 10 years, and it's due this year or next year.
Yeah, the recodification of the code of ordinances needs to be done every 10 years. The
Right.
Charter Commission, I don't think is on a set schedule, but I'd have to check that.
Right. Right.
But it's been a
But-
while. It
right.
was 2011.
See,
so
my
it's been
point
10
is,
years.
thank you, dear. My point is that this seems like something that you need to punch up the charter, because a lot of this stuff is already in the charter. So maybe this committee can look at the charter and adjust it to 2021. Let me also say that during my campaigns over the years, and I can say this with full honesty, that the first door I bang on, and I do go out physically and bang on doors, Section 8 housing, elderly housing, affordable housing. I start and end my campaigns. And some of those buildings are tough to get in because you get buzzed in. But fortunately, I know a few people. You get buzzed in, then you can have free reign of the building. So I've been doing this for years. And one statement that keeps coming up is say, I want to thank you, Councilman Murray, because I've been living here 20 years, and you're the only councilman that comes by and asks me for my vote. So, I'm not some unwoke, middle-aged white guy who has no apathy. All right. I know there are issues out there, but it seems to me our town is working through them. So I think I'd make a perfect representative on your new committee.
After you retire from town council, there you go.
How's that for inclusion? No, as a town council member, as a liaison, I think it's perfect. That's inclusion.
Got to form the committee first.
Okay.
Anything else, Patrick?
I think that should do it.
All right. I think the summary is pretty on point. I don't know if every single bullet is perfect, but I don't know if that's possible, really. For me, that last paragraph before the bullets sums it up perfectly. It really describes what it does, the cultural ambassadors, the public outreach. I think it's great. I commend Susan and Alicia for, taking the time to put this together. Again, I think that a lack of diversity creates a boring town, a boring situation. Diversity makes things interesting. That's what we should be striving for. You want people that speak a different language or have a different background, different religion, different foods. That's the kind of community I think that most people want to live in. But the town has work to do to have that reality because we don't have those demographics right now. And again, I'm focusing really on these demographics more so than discrimination, which I know exists as well. But one thing I talked about 6 months or so ago, maybe eight or 9 months ago, was marketing the town towards people of color and people of lower income, and doing that as a real campaign. If we had some housing inventory open up, that instead of having people buying their second and third homes, let's try to get a different demographic to town. I don't know if a committee like that is going to get formed. That's something that I talked about, but this is something that this committee could do. And I think that's even mentioned in here, is that kind of public outreach and to recruit, both in terms of town staff, but also as town residents. So I think it's great. I see no reason to delay this vote. I'm ready to vote tonight on it. So with that said, we can go ahead and take the vote. Everyone good?
Could we also make a motion to just, I support it. I just would like it to, as a draft. Susan did mention it was a draft. I would like to make the motion to amend, just go back, rework it, just clean up the language, tighten it up, and then bring it back to the next meeting so that we could vote on it. Would the council be willing to kind of consider that motion?
Second.
I just want to make a point. We've had 2 other new committees created this year, Coastal Access and the EDC, and I don't remember even seeing a document like this for them. I don't know whether our attorneys have approved those. I'm not sure why we have to do this. I would.
Well, I did it because I think he could look at it, but I'm ready to vote on it for tonight, and we can still. I sent him an email today to look at it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, why don't we hear back from him? And so it's all well and good you sent it to him, but to me, I think there's conflict with our charter.
Why don't we vote? We can fix it.
We're in the, right now, there was a motion and a second. So we're in the amendment motion right now. So just so everyone's clear on that. So that's what the discussion that we're having about an amendment. So Eva's said her piece. Susan, you spoke, right? You're ready to vote. Deb, anything else?
Nope.
And Patrick?
Now I'm all set. So we're voting on the amendment.
This is on the amendment, which would be to hold off. I'm fine to go ahead now. I don't really see any legal reason why the solicitor would need to look at it. There's nothing in here that's binding.
Right.
So,
I just would like to see it the way it's going to be presented. And I think it's important. And again, I don't have any issues. I appreciate everyone's input. I appreciate the intent of this, but I just want to see it in its final form. and I want to see it vetted through, you know, just the lawyers, the council. Again, it's not to postpone. I just, again, as Susan said, it's a draft, and I don't see, I think, I was surprised to see it. I was surprised to see it on the agenda. You know, you have like 3 days to really research this and look at it and vet it. And hearing from the, you know, the residents and some of the concerns on it. I just want to see it in this final form. And that's why I'm actually making the motion for just postponing it.
Yeah, and Jesse, this agenda isn't just one issue like coastal access. This is multiple issues that are reaching in all aspects of our town. So this is a little complicated than, you know, opening up a street to some ocean access. You know, I mean, it's convoluted. I mean, I just think that if we vet it with an attorney, I mean, do we need another lawsuit? Would somebody possibly sue us? I mean, it seems like every time we race through something, we get another lawsuit.
This is a committee we're talking about. We're not doing anything.
Deb, you made a good point. We didn't vet all those others through. I'm fine to vote on it. It's certainly.
This is so convoluted, Susan. You had a whole bullet point.
Convoluted. It's not convoluted.
All right, take a vote.
It's not.
We have a hand up for comment since it's an amendment. Dan, who do we have?
We have Paul Zonfrillo.
Paul, please state your full name and address.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Paul Zonfrillo, 7 Winwood Circle. You know, I'm with Eva on this. I cannot understand at all what this motion is, and it seems like Susan struggled to explain it too. It kind of felt like it was done by this other person, a little bit of copy paste. I mean, you guys might all know what it means, but I
don't know what it means.
It's clear as mud to people looking at it, like exactly what this is supposed to do. So I think a little more homework was in order. And, you know, Susan did say it was a draft. I mean, I think Eva's spot on. So that's all I have to say.
Paul, Dan, we have one more hand.
Stanley Wojciechowski.
Hi, Stanley. This is the amendment. Please state your full name and address.
Dan Wojciechowski, 1044 Boston Neck Road. I think in the effort to be very professional, we ought to get the document as close to the final words as possible. I think Edward's got it just right. We need to make it as clear and vetted as clear. It's a matter of professionalism. Let's be professional and get our documents straight in line before we vote. This is what is the rush, whether it's this week or next time. What is the rush that we have to run this through right now? Can't we wait 2 more weeks? I don't see the emergency that requires us to have to do that and not have the exact language in detail, every sentence right. Wait 2 weeks. Thank you.
Jesse, just point of order. Do we actually have? Did we need to make the amended motion? Because I don't think we did that.
We did. Eva and Patrick seconded it.
Okay.
You know,
I think Eva made a comment and Patrick said second to the comment, but not the actual motion.
Second.
I thought she made the motion.
Doesn't matter if you say it a million times. It has to be done in order.
Right. Eva, you made a motion, right?
I did. I made a motion to just, you know, basically my motion was to table it or, you know, wait till
okay.
And then just clean up the language and bring it back. I support this. I just want to make sure that it's in the final draft form because like Susan said, it is a draft. There were some comments and there were some consideration with going back to make sure that it's fine with legal counsel. And I get it. I know it's a committee. I want to make sure that the language is as it's supposed to be when we vote on it. That's my only point.
So Jesse, it keeps getting referred to, it was a draft. It is a motion on the agenda. I did send it to the attorney, but I think the ideas on here are good. We heard a lot of people speak on it tonight. So I'm ready to vote on it, and we'll have Andy look at it after the fact. But again, to Deb's point, not every committee is vetted out that way. Why is this one that way? So let's support it. We all heard the great things that it can do for the community. Andy's going to look at it. If there's anything uneasy down the road, then we take it out. Those are ideas that were listed of possible projects. So like you said, they don't all have to happen. They're ideas and actions. I think, we've explained it's not an overreach of government. It's an idea of a group to get together to educate, show awareness. So I'm ready to vote tonight. I'm keeping an open mind on the language and what the attorney says, but the concept of the committee of equity in the community and fairness and diversity, I support tonight.
We just
Susan,
voted.
I got a question, Susan. What's the difference between equity and equality?
What's the difference?
Yes,
They're the same.
they are the same. Okay, thank you.
We do have to finish up our public comments since that's what we do. So for the next few people speaking, this is specifically on the amendment, which would be to table it. So please keep your comments to that topic of tabling. Who do we have next, Dan?
Next is Dr. Alba.
He's already, on the amendment.
Yes, yes, Dr. Al Alba, 24 Eagles Nest Terrace, Narragansett, Rhode Island, 02882. I agree with Eva and Patrick. I think they're on point. In fact, even Susan, when she originally introduced this, she says, if we have to tweak this or make adjustments, we can consider that. So I don't see the rush, Sue, in having this done tonight. I think, in fact, I feel if we have nothing to hide, as they say, if there's nothing to hide, then let's reveal everything. Only people, in my eyes, who want to rush something, that puts everyone, makes even people who might even be in favor of this a little defensive. Let it be well vetted. We have legal counsel. It doesn't have to be. It's not. Time isn't of the essence. Thank God we are living in Narragansett, where we heard the chief. He spoke. We're not. We're not. Thank God we have semblance. So we have people. In my eyes, I've never seen racism in this town. I'm against the bulk zoning, and I feel that all students should be treated like everyone else. I don't think they should be singled out, but that's a whole nother story. I'm for equity all along the way. But I just feel we should table this. Let's just take a step back. And like Eva said, and Patrick said, it's not going to hurt anybody. So thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thank you, Al. One more, Dan.
Next is Sue Amoruso.
All right, Sue, please state your full name and address.
Hi. Can you hear me now? I had a little problem there. Okay. I just think you ought to vote. I think this motion to modify shouldn't have even been brought up. That in itself speaks volumes that the other committees that have been formed and approved by the town council have never gone through this scrutiny. And that in itself speaks volumes, perhaps, on why we need this. So we've listened to the town residents have listened to you guys banter back and forth. So my suggestion is that, yes, we need this. Take a vote on it tonight and don't put it through scrutiny that the other committees have not been put through. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. That's it, right, Dan?
Yep. Stanley's already spoken.
All right, thank you. Okay, is everyone ready to vote? Or this is on the amendment. All right, so we're going to vote on the amendment. All in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, nay.
Eva?
Okay. So 2 weeks is really going to make a difference in this in promoting diversity. I just don't understand why somebody would just wait 2 more weeks to get everything appropriately and vetted. I just don't understand a 2-week delay in something like this. Again, I said I support it. So my vote is nay.
All right, Deb?
Deb Kopeck, nay.
Patrick?
This is the vote for the amendment to table it, correct?
Right.
Oh, I meant aye, sorry.
And then aye, okay. Well, again, 2 weeks ain't gonna kill anybody. We'll give some people a chance to distinguish what equity and what equality actually means. So aye.
All right, Jesse Pugh, no. So motion fails 2-3. And now we have the vote on the motion itself. I'm just gonna ask real quick if anyone wants to make any last comments before we vote on the motion.
Yes, again, I'm going to reiterate that I do support this initiative, but I do not support moving it forward without the language that it's supposed to be with, and I don't understand why 2 weeks is really going to make that much of a difference. I really just don't get it. I'm a little bit baffled and floored by the fact that just postponing it for 2 more weeks. We have meetings every 2 weeks. This would be on the agenda for the next meeting, and it would be all cleaned up, and we would be able to speak to it and be able to vote on what it's supposed to be, and any questions would be answered. So anyway, that's my comment. So I'm going to vote when it comes to be nay.
Okay. Any other comments before we vote?
Well, again, I think it seems to be an overreach of this committee. I mean, I know it's just a committee and it's a concept, but the concept, it just seems so convoluted. And what am I voting for? I mean, it's
the concept.
A concept that's
not.
That's got a laundry list of. I mean, it's all over the place. That list. I mean, so yeah, I'm all set. Let's take a vote.
All right, just real quick before we vote. So I think the reason why it seems like it's all over the place is because there is a lot to cover. It's a pretty all-encompassing committee. It's not an ad hoc committee, so there's no way to really get it perfect and say these are the 5 bullets, these are the 5 things that are going to get done, because it's never going to end. Because there's never going to be an end to this committee, because there's always going to be work to be done. Susan's the sponsor of it, and if she doesn't feel the need to change anything, if she's comfortable with the way it's composed, then what's 2 weeks going to do? There won't be any changes if they're not needed. And if she's voting yes, I'm comfortable with it as well. So I think it's time to move forward with it. I don't think it's being rushed. I think if you ask someone in town, I'll stop. Yeah, so I'm ready to go ahead and vote. All right, Deb, Susan, you guys good?
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and call the vote. Susan, all in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Banana, Y.
Eva?
Carla Jasinski, I wanted to wait 2 weeks to make sure it was perfect. Nay.
Deb?
Dip Kopek, aye.
Patrick?
Too convoluted, and I think it conflicts with the charter. I think the attorney should look at this. Nay.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved 3-2. All right. Next we have number 19, which is a motion to approve an amendment to the composition of the Coastal Access Improvement Committee to add a permanent seat for 1 representative from the Narragansett Conservation Commission and 1 additional seat for a member of the public. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, seconded by Deb. All right, so this is a motion that I put on. As I was preparing the item to nominate appointees to this committee, I had, and speaking to some people in town, I had a realization that it would be appropriate to have a representative from the Conservation Commission as well. It was an oversight on my part. I did include a planning committee member, but not Conservation Commission. And they do oversee and discuss watershed issues, access issues, and that sort of thing. So it makes a total sense. And, this is something that we can just add on as we go, which is what we're doing. So what this would do is add a member to to Conservation. They would vote and have their representative. But then what we do is we throw the numbers at askew. So we always want to have an odd number of members. So to keep that odd number, we need to add one more member from the public as well. So instead of being at 8, we would now be at 9. So that's why we have that addition as well. So I don't know if that's confusing or if that makes sense, but I'll start with Susan. Susan, any thoughts?
Say again?
Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Eva, any comments or questions?
I do not. Thanks.
Okay. Deb?
Fine, thank you.
All right, and Patrick?
Go.
All right, and this isn't adding any specific people tonight, it's just those seats. Dan, who do we have from the public?
First, we have Dina DeRusso.
Hi, Dina, please state your full name and address.
Thank you. Dina DeRusso, 18 Louise Avenue. I just want to speak on motion 19. This is not transparent and it is an unclear in motive. What does public seat mean? I speak on behalf of the Point Judith neighborhood that committee members should be residents and or property owners in the Narragansett community. Once again, our community residents feel the town council is not being transparent, have alternative motives, and not working for residents and taxpayers. Can the council please speak on this question and concern? What does public seat mean? Thank you.
Sure, I can speak on that. So that would be a member of the public. It's the same seat that was originally instated when this was established. So we had 5 members of the public. Now we'll have 6 members. So it's just a resident. It's a resident seat. So hopefully that's clear now. Dan, who do we have next?
Next is Paula Darren.
Hi, Paula. Please state your full name and address.
Paula Darren, 15 Pilgrim Avenue in Narragansett. One, what is the criteria? My questions are, one, are you going to make public the criteria that you use for who gets the seats? I believe there were more people who came forward wanting a seat than there are seats available. And second, in reading through the motion, it makes reference to the fact that there is this Coastal Access Improvement Committee and the Narragansett Conservation Commission share common goals. So consistent with the dialogue that just happened about the need to make sure that we have everything clearly documented and there's no confusion, no overlaps, no ambiguity. Have we documented what the role of this committee is relative to what the role of the the other committee is? Made sure that we've really nailed out who has jurisdiction over what recommendations and what pieces, and that there's no ambiguity and everything is clearly outlined. I think given the whole last discussion, this would go a long way to show that we are a diverse community and look at all people's interests in the same, whether it be around diversity and inclusion or coastal access. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula. Dan, who do we have next?
Next is Seahorse Properties.
Hi, please state your full name and address.
Martin Etten, 24 Caliph Avenue.
Go ahead.
Thank you. First of all, I want to express my concern that Dina Roos has sought it necessary to go to the police to lay a criminal charge for herself being threatened, and it seemed to allude to others. Patrick Murray is not often right, but this time when he used the terminology about in a previous discussion about creating a hot potato, that's exactly what you guys are doing with respect. And it is a dangerous situation, as is now explained to us by Dina. I do want to applaud, however, the council for saying that they need to create a council. I congratulate you for doing so, because clearly you have recognized and realized now that you don't have the skills and expertise to deal with the problem without the assistance of other people. But in the interest of transparency, we'd like to know who these people are that are being appointed. I know of several people that I've spoken to who have expertise, but they haven't been interviewed by yourselves. So who are you appointing? Is there a question of nepotism involved? Is there a question of allegiances that are involved that we don't know about? So I think it's incumbent upon you to explain to us who the members are that you propose putting on this council and what their qualifications are. People that I've spoken to have both MBA degrees from Harvard, both in labor relations, dispute resolution, people with master's degrees. I don't know which of you have any of those qualifications, but the point is this: I recognize that you recognize that it's important to have input from expert and qualified people. So my question is, why, for example, is the police chief not included on this? He, after all, is the person who advised you, seemingly unbeknown to yourselves, that a 25-foot setback is required. Why is the tree warden not being included? Because obviously you guys wanted to create a circle and remove vegetation and do whatever, and that proposal got thrown aside. Why is the Parks and Recreation members not included? Why is the town manager not involved, who's going to interface with the state about the possibility of doing and creating parking on Ocean Road? So I think much more transparency would do yourselves well and serve our interests well. And I'd like to see that you seriously consider that. In the final matter, the next item agenda is talking about people that you're going to put on the council, 19 of whom, none of whom we don't know if they're residents or not. Why? I think it's a poor explanation to say we need an equal number for voting purposes. To me, that sounds suspicious. If you added the required...
All right, we're beyond 3 minutes, so...
Okay, well, let me finish the sentence then. If you add the required people with the expertise that are suggested, you could still create a balance there and have the required number to have an odd number, certainly not 9. And one must then ask that you reconsider and make available to us the expertise of these people who you're proposing and appointing. Thank you for the opportunity to address yourselves. And I hope you'll give attention to the concern that us residents have, as Dina expressed, about the threats. I'd like to know what you're going to do about it. Thank you.
Dan, who do we have next?
Next is Alice.
Alice, please state your full name and address. Looks like you're muted right now.
Sorry, Alice Volosky, 38 Caleb Avenue. I just want to thank the town for forming a committee. I know when I have anything done with my property, there's all sorts of regulations I have to follow. I have to go through the town, I have to go through the coastal, I've had to get a wetlands biologist. And I would hope that the town council would also take seriously the environment there, just as the residents have. And when you appoint people, I would like to know and hope that you would share what the qualifications are, so we know the type of people you're looking for, and we can even help you to recruit people who are qualified and talented and have a passion for the environment and the ocean. And lastly, I would like to suggest the possibility of a wetlands biologist, because there are wetlands down there. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. Dan, who's next?
Next is Stanley Wojciechowski.
Stanley, please state your full name and address. Stanley, you're on mute right now. All right, Dan, why don't we try Catherine? We can try Stanley after.
Catherine Siliberto.
Catherine, please state your full name and address.
Wait a minute, I just unmuted myself, sorry. I think sometimes the problem when these committee appointments come up is we only have a list of names and we don't have their resumes. And the agenda comes out on Thursday. There's really no time to go down to the town hall and look at the resumes. And I asked one person's resume today, but if I would really like to have everybody's resume, but I wasn't about to file 15 APRA requests and have Terry scan people's resumes into the agenda as attachments. But something really this has to be solved in some way. You can't have just throw out a list of names. We have no idea who these people are. Maybe if you gave us 2 weeks, say, if you said, hey, at the next meeting, we're gonna appoint people to committees and their resumes are at the town hall and you have 2 weeks to look at them. But we just don't have enough time to even know who these people are. They're just a bunch of names to most of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Dan, anyone else?
Still have Stanley out there.
All right, we'll try him again.
Oh, there he goes.
All right, Stanley, can you hear us?
Yes, yeah. I think I made a mistake on this. I have no opinion to voice on this. I'm sorry.
No problem. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Dan, one more, looks like.
Next is Ellen Bloomer.
All right, Ellen, please state your full name and address.
Hello, Ellen Bloomer, Marine Drive, Narragansett. I agree that it's critically important to define the responsibilities of this committee. I know there's significant overlap with CRMC and who has, the rights to do what and how to advise one another, et cetera. I know you talked about aligning with the town committees, but I think CRMC owns the right of ways and points of access. So defining how to interact with them, I think will be really important. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Dan, anyone else?
Sydney Ghazi is next.
All right, Sydney, please state your full name and address.
Hi, Sydney Ghazi, 35 Caleb Ave. I am one of the candidates. I have put in my application to be a part of this coastal access. And I also would like to say that I completely support the transparency and then the educational factor that is the approach to this commission. I think that my neighbors are the best experts around when it comes to this area. And it's not a one size fits all. You've heard me say that before. This is a neighborhood approach, and it's going to be a neighborhood approach to all the residents of Narragansett. So I really would like you to take your time. I would like you to put out the educational background, the expertise, whether they are chosen or not, that's not the question. But you know what? You have some really strong candidates out there, and you have people that are passionate about this. And I, for one, am speaking for the residents and the homeowners of Narragansett. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sydney. All right, is that it, Dan?
That's it.
Okay. All right. All right. Before we vote, any last comments from the council? All right, let's go. Let's go ahead and take the vote. We'll start with Susan. All in favor?
Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva?
Wojciechowski, aye.
Deb?
Deb Kopek, aye.
Patrick?
Patrick Murray, aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved. 5-0. Number.
Actually, just can I make a motion to move a couple of the agenda items ahead, 25 and 26? I know 20, somebody's online waiting to see if their license.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yep. So you made the motion. Is there a second to move 25 and 26 up?
Second.
All right. All in favor? Start with you, Susan.
Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva?
Eva Jasinski, aye.
Deb?
Deb Kopek, aye.
Patrick?
Aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved. 5-0. Number 25 is a motion to approve the expansion of the licensed premise service area for one specific establishment with a liquor license in good standing, subject to state or local regulations. Is there a motion?
I'll move the motion, Susan Cicilline Bonanno.
All right, second by Eva. Okay. Terry, would you be able to give a brief summary of this for the council?
And I believe the applicant is on the call as well.
Okay, great.
But this is a COVID-related request for expansion of outdoor service of alcohol on a temporary basis.
Right, okay. And do we have if the applicant is on, if you could go ahead and raise your hand, we will move you over and you can.
Mary, is that Laurie Baxter?
So, yes, yes.
Found her.
Thank you, Dan.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Lori. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for being here. If you want to just kind of give us a quick summary of what you guys are looking to do.
Sure. We're just looking to put 6 tables out in our yard in the back. 6 tables of 4, just to extend our outdoor dining so that we can accommodate people who really at this time of year, we didn't do it last year. And we didn't open it actually at Catarina's until the summertime, till August. And we were very hesitant about everything. And now we've been closed for a couple of months and we're reopening, and we want to be able to accommodate more people outside for outdoor dining.
Okay, great. Does anyone from the council have any questions for Lori? Okay, I have a couple. And when do you guys plan to reopen?
We're actually reinventing ourselves. So we're reopening with a new name, the Coastal Cabin Restaurant, and a new menu. So we're redoing the front a little bit. We're recarpeting and changing our paint scheme and our theme. So we're not going to be Italian food. So we're looking to open mid-May.
And then you'd be looking to have this set up for this summer, and then not next year? Would it just be for this summer?
No, I was actually looking to keep it to be a permanent thing with my license, to extend it. Not because of COVID, it's made us want to extend it, but I know that all these regulations are with us for who knows how long. So we want to have that option. So we don't want to have to come to you. We serve on the deck already. We have the deck space. We have 5 tables out on the deck, but we don't do anything outside further. So we wanted to extend our site plan to encompass the lawn. So we have service out on the lawn.
And how far out do you think that would go? How far back into that lawn?
We would keep it, closer to the building because of, service and convenience for everybody. We wouldn't go, at the edge. We have an extensive back lawn. If you've ever been in there and looked at it, I know Patrick has. But we would keep it closer to the building,
Because there's like those condos back there.
There are condos down below. We actually had one of the residents pop in the other day and look around at some of the changes we're doing. And she said she's very excited. And I said, we're looking to put some tables out in the back. And she goes, oh, that would be amazing. I'm like, she, like myself, we ate in outside areas that had been set up for COVID, whether it was Pelly's the Willows parking lot and things like that over the summer. So she was looking, for something different too. And she was thrilled to hear something like that would be coming in our yard.
And you guys do not do live music, or?
No, we don't do any. At this point in time, we haven't done any live music. I think my father, Antonio Malo, who's the owner, he over the years maybe did an accordion player inside that walked around kind of thing. We're not a band kind of place.
Gotcha. All right. All right. Thank you. I mean, I guess the only thing that kind of raised my eyebrows a little bit was just those condos back there and the distance. I don't know. I mean, do you have a good idea like how far they are distance wise?
I don't. I apologize. I'm really not a good gauge of that kind of thing. When we first opened, they weren't even there. We had a lot of open space around us. Like everything else, it's changed over the years. My father's been there for about, I think it's 15 years this spring that we've been in that location. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask, what time would you stop outside service? Just curious.
I would think by 9 o'clock. So we're not a late night place. If you've ever seen us before, usually by 9, 10 o'clock, we're closed. This summertime, a little later, as everyone's schedule tends to run a little later in the summertime, because it's light longer. But I would imagine as it gets darker, we're not going to add lights or anything to the back at this, as you know, I don't know about us adding any additional lights or heaters or things like that. So I can't imagine it's someplace that we're going to be looking to use late in the evening, you know.
So 9 or 10 o'clock, no entertainment, and there's a good amount of space between you and the condos, though.
Yeah, as far as to my perception, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, Jesse, I just wanted to.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Perfect.
All right. Anyone else from the council have any questions for Lori or just general comments?
I have a general comment. It's not for Lori. I mean, there's a pretty good possibility, a likelihood that that these COVID restrictions might end right before summer, at least as far as restaurants are concerned. I mean, they just upped the number of individuals and they decreased the space between tables. I mean, what happens then? I guess that's my question, is what happens if there are no restrictions?
Deb, this is Mark. If I can take that.
Sure.
I think the right answer is that this expansion, without going through planning, zoning as required, should be allowed so long as the take it outside rules are in effect. But just as we had a previous restaurant owner come before us, and we stated what the law is, and that is, if you want to expand beyond what your current situation is, you need to go through the process. So I think we need to be consistent, or we should be consistent. And if you find it to be acceptable to grant it based on take it outside, it should be limited to for as long as take it outside is in effect.
And we have several restaurants that fall under this category, right?
We do have a number of restaurants that took it out into the parking lot
Right.
on the take it outside basis.
Right. Okay.
But Lori was talking about a more permanent thing, Mark. So what happens with Lori if she does it and COVID ends? Is she back to the same rules?
Yeah, I think, Susan, the prudent thing to do, if you grant it, she'll have enough time to start the process, go through the process to get, the rules necessary as the rules are set forth now.
Yeah, if she goes through the board, so if she could do it and then she could go to the planning and zoning
Exactly.
and ask for special use. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mark, I got a question. In the event that, say, come July 4th, all right, and all restrictions are taken away, does the town council have the authority to extend this through the summer season?
I think you have discretion. I don't think the governor's office would expect everyone to dismantle things, on a moment's notice. Should be a reasonable grace period. So,
Okay, good.
And you guys can determine what that is. So I think as long as it's reasonable, it should be fine.
Perfect. Thank you. I got one question for Lori. She's still there?
Sure.
Lori.
Yep.
When are you gonna open up?
We're looking for mid-May.
Mid-May. Can I make a reservation? Can I make a reservation now before there's a big run on the restaurant?
Sure, Pat.
All right, I'll call you tomorrow.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thank you. Good luck. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Good luck, Lori. So do we want to make an amendment to this to specify that this is during the Take It Outside initiative, right?
Did I already say that?
Yeah, I'll make that motion to approve with the take it outside restrictions, and then when and if she wants to do something more permanent, then she can go through the zoning and planning.
Second.
All right, so this is an amendment. So, all right, let's go ahead and vote on the amendment. Susan?
Susan Cicilline, Bonanno, aye.
Deb? Or sorry, Eva?
It's just temporary.
Are you there, Eva?
Oh, yeah, Eva Jasinski, aye. Did you not hear?
I can hear you now, yeah. Deb,
Deb Kopek, aye.
Patrick,
Aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion to amend, approved. And then the vote on the motion itself, all in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva,
Eva Jasinski, aye.
Deb,
Deb Kopek, aye.
Patrick.
Patrick Murray, aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved 5-0. Good luck to
Thank
Laura.
you,
Good luck, Lori.
Good luck.
everyone.
Take care. Thank you, Mark, for the counsel on that. Then we have number 26, which is a motion to approve a victualling license application for Carolina's LLC, DBA Carolina's Bakery, 1004 Boston Neck Road, Suite 1, Narragansett, Rhode Island, subject to local and state regulations. So this is the location where Faye Mason, if that's how it's pronounced, was located, which is the same location as Gansett Poke. They share that space across from Bonnet there. So this is a new bakery in that spot. Terry, is there an applicant on for this?
Should be. She was asked to be on, Dan.
Is it Jennifer?
Jennifer Armstrong.
Yep. Okay, great. All right. So Dan, she has her hand up.
Hello.
Hey, Jennifer, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
Tell us about your new business.
It is a small pop-up bakery within inside of Gansett Poke. We will be focusing on Italian gluten and nut-free pastry. It was brought upon as my family and I have gone through the pandemic and thought we would do something nice this year together. I have two little girls, one named Caroline and one named Lena. And we shared our grandmother's recipes from Italy. And we want to share that with the community.
Great. And when are you looking to open up?
We are all ready to go. We have everything all set. So Saturday we were hoping to have our grand opening.
Sweet. That's great. All right. Anyone have any questions for Jennifer? All right. Everyone's familiar with that spot. All right. So thank you, Jennifer, for explaining. Why don't we go ahead and take the vote? All in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva?
Eva Jasinski, aye.
Deb?
Deb Kopek, aye.
Patrick?
Patrick Murray, aye. Best of luck.
Yep, good luck.
Thank you.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. Good luck, Jennifer. I'll be in soon.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Eva, thanks for suggesting moving those up.
Oh, yeah, thanks. And I actually have another motion. I would like to table 20 and 21 with any new committees. I really wanted to interview candidates for any new committees that are formed. I know the EDC was resurrected, but to me, it is a new one, and I think it's an important one, as well as coastal access. I don't know if any of the counselors have any objections to that, or just tabling one of them.
So you want to? It's a motion. Are you making a motion?
I can make a motion just for just because I agree. I think it's important to the new members, like any new committees that we form or start. I think it's important to interview and have it be transparent.
All right. Is there a second?
Well, normally we don't interview. We only interview on like planning, zoning.
Right.
I think maybe we should. I mean, I was surprised to see the EDC come back up. I mean, it was out there, and then it came back up. And I know at least one person. I told them to put in their application, and they didn't. But I mean,
Terry, did
yes.
EDC come back up because it's a full slate now? Is that why it's back on the agenda?
Well, the council recently created or recreated this
Right.
committee.
Right.
And we have 12 applications.
Okay,
So
so they're ready to go.
for 5
Thank you.
seats,
5
there
seats,
didn't seem
right.
to be a reason to
Sure,
hold it back.
sure.
Sounds good to me.
Yep, yep.
All right, well, all right, so is there a second on this motion to table, or are we gonna just move forward?
I don't think we need to be interviewing people. I mean,
We'll just table it for the next meeting. I mean, this is, there's,
these
for
two.
2021, it's gonna be a while.
All right,
Yeah,
well,
we can let this run for another 2 weeks. It's not gonna kill us. So, yeah, I'll second that.
We don't, right, I mean, fine, we don't have to interview, but I would just definitely like to be, I don't know, at least, I mean, I think EDC is important.
Right.
Getting the right, background and skill set for that committee, making sure, we
Sure.
set it for success. Because I know in the past, we've had it and it was disbanded and for various reasons. And I just want to make sure that we have a successful slate of members for that committee to make it successful, like I said.
all right, so the motion is to table 20 and 21. So it'd be the coastal access appointments and the EDC appointments. That's the motion. All right, Susan and Deb, any comments?
No, I'm not interested in tabling either one. I'm ready to vote. I looked at the applications. I'm good.
All right, Deb, any comments?
The only thing I can say is that I did look at all of the applications for everybody. There's a lot of them. And I will say that I would really kind of like to see a couple more people apply for the EDC positions based on what I saw. So that one I have, I think it might not be a bad idea. I mean, coastal access, there's 19 people who have put in applications for those positions. There's, what do we have now? There's 6 or 7. I can't remember now. I lost
There's 6 seats, yeah.
6. Okay. So that's a little bit harder. I mean, I was able to go through and review them, and I have candidates that I could, definitely vote for. So I wouldn't necessarily need to set that one aside. Although, having said that, it might not be a terrible idea to put together, a document that says this is what these folks are doing. I think there's a misunderstanding of what this committee's for. So I think that needs to be maybe looked at. So that one, I don't think I need more time, and I don't want to, we don't interview these folks. We look at what they have to say and make our decisions accordingly. I don't know where the word nepotism came from, by the way, because I'm not related to anybody in this town except my husband, and he's not running. So I would consider delaying that for that reason, so that we have a definitive series of tasks that we want this committee to do. And I nominate Patrick to put that together.
Second.
All right, yeah, well, we'll vote on this. I'm ready to go with, I mean, because, we don't, like you said, we don't schedule interviews for these. We kind of, the contact info is on the application, so it's up to the council member to contact them if they want to do the interviews. There's one-on-one interviews. And we've had the coastal access ones for like a while. We got a lot of those applications early on. But let's go ahead and take the vote and see where it ends up. So this is a motion to table 20 and 21.
We could split it, do 20 and make it 21. I mean, I think EDC is more important for me to table right now, but if anyone else wants to make a different motion.
You want to do a motion on one at a time on each one, or?
I mean, if you guys are ready for coastal access, I'm fine. I mean, I think EDCs, I definitely wanted to see different candidates, and again,
Right.
I don't have to fill every spot either. So, right away.
Yeah, I motion we postpone the EDC committee.
21.
Correct.
All right, so that's the motion. All right, is
That's
there
the
a
motion.
What happened? Eva owned that motion that you took it over. Eva, do you want to second that?
No, I'll second it, and I'm fine with that.
All right, 21. All right, we're just going to take the vote. We just had the discussion. All in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, nay.
Eva,
Kuzinski, aye.
Deb,
Deb Kopeck, aye.
Patrick.
Patrick Murray, aye.
I'll go with the majority on this. Jesse Pugh, aye. All right, so then we have number 20, which is a motion to appoint 6 individuals and select 1 council representative to serve on the newly established Coastal Access Improvement Committee. Is there a motion?
I'll move the motion, Susan Cicilline Bonanno.
All right, is there a second?
A second.
Okay, so this is the committee we've talked about plenty in length for a while. One thing to note for these new appointments, this will be the case for EDC when we do those and any other new committees, is we are doing staggered terms to be in line with the new charter, the new wording in the charter. So 2 of these appointments will be for 3-year terms. That's members 1 and 2. Members 3 and 4 will be 2-year terms. And then 5 and 6 will be 1-year terms. And then after they do their first term, then they're all 3. If they get reappointed for a second term, that person, then their second term is a 3-year term. But it is something to keep in mind when you're thinking about the qualifications of the candidate. If they may be, if you think they might end up being the chair of the committee, you probably, they should be a 3-year appointment probably, and that kind of thing. So just something, I guess, to think about as we do this. I do have a couple people in mind. We're all gonna get a chance to nominate. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I have a nomination.
All right.
I'd like to nominate Sydney Ghazi for the Coastal Access. And I'm going to tell you why, because she has been a very vocal person that lives at the access points down there. I think she's been thoughtful in her deliberations on a lot of things down there. And again, the biggest asset, she's 17 years as a resident. She lives down there, and she definitely has a big interest in that area. So I'd like to see her. I don't know her, but I've listened to her speak at the council meetings. So I would nominate her.
Okay. All right. Are there any, actually, Terry, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
As we do these nominations, do we take public comment on each nomination separately? Or on that motion in general? Or do we get all the nominations together as one motion?
I think you should nominate individuals one at a time and vote on that. So if you want to take comment on each of those votes, you can.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Any thoughts on this nomination before we go to the public? All right. The only comment I'll make, and this is just generally, we have multiple applications from residents in that neighborhood. I think there's like at least 3. One thing to keep in mind is that we want to make sure it's a diverse committee that isn't weighted too heavily geographically or with specific intentions. We want to have a cross section, I think, of representation, but I don't know if we want to load it up with people from one area or one neighborhood. So as we do this, we just want to keep in mind there are other nominees as well, if anyone wanted to discuss that. Because once we do one from that neighborhood, I personally don't know if I would support a second person from that area. So
I also want to ask a question. So are we, for the residency status, does the individual on all these committees have to be a resident?
They don't have to be.
Property owner.
It's not by ordinance or in the charter. Some, it may be a preference for sure. I think it's important. But I think that planning and zoning are the only boards that they have to be.
Right, I did read that, and I didn't know if this council wanted to prioritize individuals who are actual residents.
I definitely do. That's my feeling.
And Jesse, just to your point, I mean, you don't want everybody that lives in the neighborhood to be on that committee, but I think if you have a couple of people in that committee that live in the neighborhood that are diverse and have different, thinking, I don't think that that's repetitive. I mean, if you had everybody on the coastal access that lived at the access points, I'd say it's a problem. But I mean, you can have 2 people that live in a neighborhood and bring totally 2 different ideas.
Okay. All right, so we have the nomination. Any comments before we go to the public?
Is there a second? And would that be the 3-year appointment?
So it's Susan's nomination for, we'll see if there's a second, but in terms of the seat.
Okay.
I say yes, a 3-year for a member. 3-year term.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a second for this nomination? All right, so there's no second. All right, is there another nomination?
You
I
know
have
what?
plenty of nominations, so if
Hey,
anyone-
Council President,
Yes,
I'll second that.
you're gonna second, okay,
I'll second that.
all right.
I think one from that neighborhood is okay. Okay, because there's other access points in town, right? She has local knowledge. She's been there. She's not a resident. She's a property owner. You know, she understands what's going on down there. Her input, I think, has value.
Okay. All right, why don't we go to the public? Dan, who do we have?
First is Seahorse Properties.
Please state your full name and address.
Martin Etten, 24 Caliph Avenue.
Go ahead.
Let me again start by expressing my extreme disappointment that I've heard nothing and seen nothing from any of you in the face of the revelation by Dina Roos that she has had to go to the police because there have been threats against her. You are 4 women on this council. Do you not have any compassion for a woman who's living in the area, who's being threatened, and you say nothing about it? I am shocked and amazed and horrified. It is unbelievable that you can just carry on with this meeting and not pay any respect or express any concern for the safety of this woman. It is absolutely a disgrace. My second point is this, that you have, by your own admission, had to get the police to come and explain to you what the safety issues are in this area, and yet you have not seen your way clear to including the police department in as a nominee. Surely, Police Chief Corrigan or somebody like him should be included in this committee. I'm also amazed that the council has seen its way fit to talk to the press. And I inquire whether you're not part or contributing to this problem and the threats that are being made against this one resident or whoever. And you should make it your business to involve yourself in this. And I hope that you're not part of the problem. My next concern is that you seem to have little scant regard for the fact that there needs to be transparency. You talk about people not having to be interviewed, but what is about the qualification? At least you now decided to apply your mind to what the issues are that this council will consider, but it is really a very sad situation when you are going to decide on situations and have people who may be not even from Narragansett, who are maybe from the people who are instigating this dispute and are now asking you to create a special privileged situation for them. If you are looking for a situation where we're going to have their view, according to the press, is that there is no access to the beach without parking. There's no right of access. Well, if they can conflate that issue, then maybe we need a court of law to determine whether that is the issue. I don't know what other issues you're looking to confront, but we as residents do not feel that you're looking at this matter objectively, and we would have to see how this planning of this board represents the...
All right, Martin, we're well beyond 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll have to see how this board
Dan, who do we have next?
Next is Dina DeRusso.
Dina, please state your full name and address.
Tina DeRusso, 18 Louise Avenue. On this, I have applied to this coastal committee, and I just believe it's common practice in public or private sectors that even minimum wage applicants are interviewed for a job. Resumes are studied and backgrounds checked. Although it is stated in the motion that applicants may be invited for an interview, I find it very undemocratic that interviews were not conducted for all that applied. Jesse, I'm sorry, I disagree with you that it should only be one person from the neighborhood. It's clear that this committee came about due to parking, etc., in my neighborhood. So I don't think it's fair that it would only be one person from my neighborhood. I'm not saying it has to consist of everyone from my neighborhood, but it should have one or more persons to represent our community, since that's why this committee was developed from the motions that have been discussed on parking in the Point Judith area. I just really would like an explanation of why people are not interviewed. I just don't think it's very democratic. Thank you.
Jesse, it might be helpful for people to reference the rules of the boards and commissions and how I think Patrick just said it earlier, that we only interview for zoning and planning because there are tons of committees, and we do look at the resumes. We do call the people that we're interested in so they understand the process, because we couldn't possibly interview for every board and commission. I mean, it just would be, and who decides which one if that's not the rule? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. And then the other, that's a good point. The other thing, sorry, Eva, I couldn't, to note just for the public is that these boards have town staff as resources. They all do. So we can't assign the chief or the Parks and Rec director and, you know, all these directors to every committee. These are full-time jobs, so they work in the daytime. They can't go to these committee meetings every night of the week. That's what would happen. So the committees always have the resource to speak to and consult with department heads when needed and to get their expertise. Dan, who do we have next?
Next is Catherine Ciliberto.
Catherine, please state your full name and address. And
Catherine Ciliberto, 48 Earls Court. Tonight, when people make nominations to these committees, I would just like them to speak or just give a little history of the person or their qualifications and why you're nominating that person, since we don't have the benefit of looking at any of these resumes. The other thing is this, that I don't think, I think that people on these committees should be full-time residents. I'm speaking against myself in this case. Right now I'm in Florida, but I'm listening to a town of Narragansett town council meeting. So I'm fully invested in Narragansett. But since I am not currently a full-time resident, I feel that it would be best that people on these committees are full-time residents. And I notice that some of these names, these people are not full-time residents. But again, a short, just a little short reason why you're nominating a particular person, and just something about them so we all know who they are. Thank you.
Thanks, Catherine. Dan, anyone else?
Next is Ellen Bloomer.
Ellen, please state your full name and address, and please speak to the specific motion, which is the nominee of Sydney Ghazi.
Okay, I will. So prior to the nomination, I had the impression that not every town council member read all the applications in detail. I may be, misunderstood in that, but that was one of my takeaways. And then when Deb spoke about making a chart, with skills, ability, knowledge, and really kind of outlining where the candidates rank up against what the council is looking for, I think that would be a great visual to really understand, instead of having a candidate nominated and not really know their background or skills, to compare against one another so you get a diverse committee. I think that would be very beneficial. I've listened to Sydney. She's very talented. I don't know her background. And I don't specifically know what she would bring to the committee across Narragansett. But if I was on the council, I would vote for her as well. But I think if you took more of a holistic approach and, you know, evaluated the applicants against one another for the skills and abilities and knowledge that you're looking for, I think you would come up with maybe the diverse group that you're looking for. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jesse, can I just say one thing?
Yep.
You know, I think Ms. Bloomer misunderstood what I was saying. I was talking about putting together, you know, what the list of things this organization would do, not creating the document that she mentioned.
Oh, sorry, Deb. I didn't.
That's okay. That's okay. Okay. That's no problem. I just wanted to be clear.
Thank you. Thanks, Deb. Who do we have next, Dan?
Next is Dolores Zamba.
Dolores, please state your full name and address.
Unmute.
Looks like you're muted.
Hey, Dolores Zampa, 51 Caliph Avenue, Narragansett, Rhode Island. I am a full-time resident of Narragansett. I have owned my home since 1993. I fully support this neighborhood. I fully support the committee that you are developing, but I have an extensive human resource background, over 36 years in human resources, and I know how important it is to take all the candidates that have expressed interest in this committee, who have presented themselves in a resume and interest in moving forward, because it is an important committee, but they should be given the time and the right to express their credentials and to make sure that we have a committee that fully represents our community. I am on many sides of this motion, and I am on, it's very disturbing to me to see that certain people could just be moved forward. I fully support Sydney Ghazi. She's wonderful, but Dina DeRusso is also wonderful. I don't know many of the other candidates. I just know that Dina is she has a passion for this community, for this neighborhood, and we should review all of the candidates that have presented forward. I'd be more than happy to assist in any way that I can. If you need assistance in interviewing candidates, as I said, I have over 36 years experience, and it makes no sense to me not to spend the time to interview the candidates and develop a committee that will represent our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan, who's next?
Next is Kay Morgan.
Hi, full name and address.
Christine Morgan, 44 Caliph. I'm just calling in to say that I definitely support the appointment of Sydney Ghazi. I think she would represent our neighborhood well, but I also would like a little bit more transparency from the council as far as how many members of the community do you have that you think would be supporting the opposite stance as what some people in our neighborhood are supporting, that it should be a very diverse group. And if you just say only one member from our neighborhood, is that going to be a balance? You know, you're just throwing us a bone here, saying, all right, we'll give them one member from their neighborhood and then load it up with your own special interest. It's been made very clear how the council feels on the coastal access in the Point Judith neighborhood. So I would just like a little bit more transparency on what you think the makeup of this committee should be. And I agree with some of the other people that you should give a little bit of a bullet list on what each person you're nominating represents. Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, I could do that for Sydney Ghazi. I mean, she's a grief counselor. You want me to read some of the resume, or? I mean, it's up to you guys.
All right. So are there any other comments on this nomination? All right, I'll make a brief comment. So this is the Coastal Access Improvement Committee, where we want to have members who are in favor of adding parking bi-coastal access points, who do not think that the road in front of their house is private property because it's public property, who have shown dedication to this issue. And this is also a nomination for a 3-year seat. So it's not personal, but another thing I'll say is that this committee is not just for this neighborhood. This neighborhood needs to be improved in terms of access, but this committee is going to be focusing on all other areas of town. And soon enough, it won't even be focusing on this neighborhood at all, because they'll be moving on once the job is done. But yeah, the nominees for this board are to be, based on the mission of this board, to be pro-access. And to say that nobody should park in your neighborhood, and there should be no legal parking in your neighborhood, because remember, we've been talking about this for 1.5 years, and we have not found a compromise with this nominee. So to say no parking in the neighborhood is not in line with the mission of this board, in my opinion, in any way. Again, not personal, just based on the reality of what we're trying to form here, or at least what the board's intention is. So that's how I feel about it.
Can I make 2 points, Jesse?
Yeah.
One is that I think that there was another misunderstanding, and that is that this Coastal Access Committee was formed as a result of conversation about the Point Judith area. It's actually been in discussion for a long time. So because there are other issues with other coastal access points. And I think the other point that's really important is to understand that this committee is also looking at not just parking spaces. It's looking at what our coastal access points are like, what they look like, what improvements we can make to them, and also how we can make sure that they're properly monitored so that they're safe, they're clean. There's a whole host of things that this committee would be looking at besides what we've just been discussing.
Okay. All right. Any other thoughts from the council before we vote? All right. So this is for nomination for Sydney Ghazi for the first seat, which is a 3-year seat on this committee. All in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva? Sorry, it's muted. All right, we couldn't hear
Nay.
it. Deb?
Kopic, aye.
Patrick?
I can support Ghazi.
Jesse Pugh, no. Motion approved. 3-2. All right, so that's 1. Our next, does anyone have another nominee? This would also be for a 3-year seat.
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Tony Colombo. I've known Tony Colombo. Actually, I'm 60, so he's my wrestling coach. So what's that put us at? That put us at what, 45 years? He lives down in Narrow River. He knows coastal access issues. He's a big supporter of the coast. He's been out there on boats, fishing, swimming, and I think he's the man for the job. He's well-rounded.
I'll second that nomination, Patrick.
So you want to do this for the 3-year seat as well?
Sure.
Okay. Any comments from the council?
I think he's a great pick. I think he will do a great job.
Agree.
All right. Yeah, Tony's he's a good pick for the committee for sure. All right. Dan, do we have a hand up? So this is specific to this nomination for Tony Colombo. And if it's so this is not open conversation. Dan, who do we have?
We have Paula Darren.
Hi, Paula. Please state your full name and address.
Paula Darren, 15 Pilgrim Avenue. I just would ask that, do we have clear definition of what Mr. Colombo or any person we're putting on this committee's responsibilities are? And I also find it very disturbing that you, Jesse, would make a comment that said you're specifically looking for people on this committee that support only what your position is, and you misstated what the actual position is of the residents of the Point Judith neighborhood are. They actually did present alternatives to you that had parking. You chose to not like them, so to say that there were none presented, I think is disingenuous.
All right, thank you. All right, so, all right, any other comments? All right, all in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva?
Lichtenstein, aye.
Deb?
Deb Kopek, aye.
Patrick?
Patrick Murray, aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved 5-0. I would like to nominate Cynthia Zucchera Martin for the third seat. So she is a longtime coastal access advocate. She's lived in town since 1985, raised children here, has been here, seen things change. She is disabled with vision issues. So being able to get close to these access points and to be able to park near them is important for her. And she's been, heavily involved in this issue for a long time. So that's why I nominate her. She also, I believe, is retired and would have the time needed to dedicate to the committee.
I'll second your nomination, Jesse.
All right.
Yeah, she's on my list.
Any thoughts or comments from the council? All right. All in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva?
Eva Lichtenstein, aye.
Deb?
Deb Kopek, aye. I'm sorry, how many years is this one?
This is a 2-year seat.
Okay, thank you. Aye.
Patrick?
Patrick Murray, aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved 5-0. All right. I do have another member. I can hold off if anyone wants to go before me.
I'd like to nominate someone. Or
right,
should I wait my turn? Should I politely
Wait,
wait
you
my
did
turn?
one. So why don't we see if Eva or Deb have anybody?
Okay. I got an Eagle Scout in mind.
No, I was going to nominate him, actually. I'll let you do it. I think I know.
Yeah,
who-
it's stealing my thunder again.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jesse. Go ahead.
No. I was saying if Eva or
You're
Deb-
on your way to the governor's mansion. Go ahead.
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. You can nominate.
All right, I'd like to nominate Michael Millen.
Yep.
Michael Millen's a longtime resident. He is an Eagle Scout. He's well-rounded. He knows the town. And I think he'd be a great addition to this committee.
I'll second that. He also ran for town council this last term for anyone.
This is Junior, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just checking.
So, he's definitely civic minded and wants to be involved.
Yeah.
Any comments from the council?
No, I think he's a great choice.
I do too.
All right, we have a
He
couple.
was on my list.
Oh, he works so hard too.
All right, we have a few hands up. Dan, who's first? So this is for the nomination of Mike Millen Jr. That's
First is Ellen Bloomer.
Hi, please state your full name and address.
Hi, Ellen Bloomer, Marine Drive, Narragansett. You didn't ask for public comment on Tony nor Cynthia?
Raise their hand.
There were no hands up.
Oh, okay. I was waiting for you to say something. So I'm an applicant and very interested. I've been in Narragansett 25 years, but I don't really know anyone on the board. The town council. So it seems like people are being recommended or nominated because you know them or know of them. So I don't know if people's applications are getting properly screened based on their qualifications or not. Thank you.
Josie, can I just comment? Because I again, just want to, the resumes. Ellen, we went to high school together, but I don't know Sydney Ghazi. But so it's really based on qualifications, the resumes, and reviewing them. So you don't really need to know anybody, although we do know each other, went to school. It doesn't really matter. Again, we're looking at the resumes and going over the information. So it's been the process that's worked in the town for a long time around appointments to boards and commissions. This is not new business. This is how we've done it for 20 years.
Right. So we did go to high school 40 years ago, right?
Right.
So You
But I
really
still
don't know
consider
me.
you a friend, Ellen.
However, when you talk about Tony and Cynthia and Michael, they all seem to be very knowledgeable to many of you. So
Oh, man.
that's where my reference comes from.
I have met Cynthia one time, so I'll divulge that. We did
Never
meet.
met
I've
her.
never met her.
I never met her. Her application was strong.
Well, I appreciate those comments because the way you refer to some of the candidates, it seems like you know them very well.
One of them ran for town council, so that's how we knew the last.
Yeah, yeah. I met him once.
I mean, I think
Thank
it's
you.
fair to say sometimes we'll know the candidates, sometimes we won't. I mean, it's a small community, so you look at the resumes and make the calls and talk to the applicant.
It's a town committee. These are town residents. I mean,
Right,
I'm
right.
sure we bump into them every now and then.
All right, guys. Dan, who do we have next?
Next is Seahorse Properties.
Please state your full name and address. This motion is for nominating Michael Millen Jr.
Martin Etten, 24 Caleb Avenue. I would just like to support what the previous speaker said. It's would be a little helpful if you could say more about their qualification than the fact that he was my coach
Thank you.
10 years ago.
Wrestling coach.
I see. So how does that qualify him in terms of aptitude and skills to make a contribution?
Well, we're not supposed to have a dialogue back and forth on this. You're supposed to make a comment, sir.
The comment I'm making is exactly what the previous person said. You refuse to interview some of the candidates who have exceptional qualifications, and like the lady who offered because of her training in terms of the dynamics of labor relations, etc., you just disregard her and you put in her place I don't know the gentleman, not casting aspersions on him, but I hardly think that the fact that he's a wrestling coach compares with Harvard MBAs and people with those kind of qualifications. I'm sure he's a very nice gentleman, and I hope he makes a good contribution. But I think you're not being fair to us, and that's why we have to engage you in consultation, because you're not taking us into your confidence. You have made certain concessions. There was a petition that's been sent your way. Is this the way we're going to deal with these issues going forward on a confrontational basis, or can we have some more dialogue? Because in actual fact, we have heard some very positive things, but by and large, there seems to be a sentiment that is going to be one person from this our neighborhood and nobody else. And that is correct. I have not heard one person of any of you state that any resident has refused access to anyone to the ocean. We have been very, very supportive of them. We work
This
with.
motion is on Mike Millen Jr.
Come again?
This is a motion on Mike Millen Jr.'s appointment.
So I said I'm indifferent to it because I don't know anything about him.
Okay. Thank you. All right, Dan, who do we have next?
Next is John Kennedy.
Hi, John. Please state your full name and address.
Yes, can you hear me okay, Jesse? I just want to make sure the audio's good. All right, thank you. Yep, it's John Kennedy, 19 Pilgrim Avenue, Narragansett. And I just want to speak about Mike Millen Jr. and Tony. I think they're both excellent candidates for the committee and full support there. And I do support Sydney also, but I do want to make one point. I think this community in Point Judith, I think the town would be well served if there was representation, more than one, right? There's been so many issues raised that the community has gone through and that is still going through, that I think that experience can, be utilized, by this committee and in their assessments of other access points and how to address any issues that are that might be, I guess, in effect today, or issues that might arise in the future. But I just would appreciate the council thinking about that And that, because what I'm hearing is that there will be 9 committee members in total. So I think, 2 from the Point Judith community, I don't think that is unreasonable, but just my thought. Thank you.
Done. All right, should we go to the vote on this nomination? This is for Mike Millen Jr. All in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva,
Eva Jasinski, aye.
Deb,
Deb Kopek, aye.
Patrick,
Patrick Murray, aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved 5-0. So we have done 4. So we have 2 more nominations for public seats. I do have some names, but again, if Eva or Deb have anyone they want to nominate, you're welcome to do that.
I was very impressed with the information from Ruben McFarland.
Yeah.
And he does have, his academic and professional and personal lives are focused on working with natural sciences, particularly in the marine and environmental sciences. And I think that, that credential alone is probably very good to have in this committee. So I would definitely think that he would be, and he's also a lecturer on marine biology at the Coast Guard Academy. And I think that his experience with Coast Guard is also, very, very valuable here as well. So he has a bachelor's degree, he's done graduate studies, and he has a PhD in environment and ecosystem science, which was completed in 2016. He is a resident, and I think he would be an excellent choice.
I'll second that nomination, Deb.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And a couple other things about him, just to continue on. He's lived in a bunch of different cities and towns. He's in Narragansett now, he lives here, but he has seen situations in other areas, and ways that some of these issues can be solved, or maybe ways they haven't been solved. So I think it's good to have that outside perspective as well. So yeah, I think that's a great nomination. All right. Any other comments?
I agree. Very diverse individual.
Well, we'll have a committee to see if that's true.
Oh, I know you will. I know you will. Wait.
All in favor? Start with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva,
Eva Jasinski, aye.
Deb,
Deb Kopek, aye.
Patrick,
Patrick Murray, aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved 5-0. And then we have member number 6. And if nobody has anyone they want to nominate, I'll go ahead and nominate Rachel Wise Smith. She is a mother here in town, grew up in the area, has been here for a long time, goes to, surfs, goes to the beach, kind of an everyday kind of family here in town, very dedicated to the town, always getting involved in different town projects. Came to us last year to try to put together a skate park in North End. So I know she's been kind of looking to get on a committee. And I think she'd be a great nominee for it. So,
I'll second that nomination.
all right. Any comments?
No, you described her well. She's a big beach goer. She likes to swim and surf. And so I think she'll be a nice addition as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, great. So why don't we go ahead and vote? All in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva,
Jasinski, aye.
Deb,
Deb Kopek, aye.
Patrick,
Kudos. Patrick Murray, aye.
Jesse Pugh, aye. Motion approved 5-0. So those are the 6 public members with their staggered terms. The Conservation Commission will vote and notify the council of their rep. The Planning Board has nominated Robin Plasiak, a member of the Planning Board. Again, I think her and her husband are surfers and paddleboarders. She's on the Planning Board. She's definitely, into serving. Terry, do we need to vote to approve that?
No, I don't think so. They've selected their representative and they voted on it at their meeting. So I think the only thing that's left at this point is the town council representative.
Okay, great. So then the council rep, will be a one-year term. Not to force it, I would like to be that rep for this term, just.
Second.
Okay. I'm not nominating myself, though.
I'll nominate you.
Oh, thanks.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
Perfect fit.
All right.
Excellent.
Perfect person for the job.
All in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva,
Jazinski, aye.
Deb,
Deb Kopeck, aye.
Patrick,
Patrick Murray.
Jessica, I motion approved 5-0.
Congratulations. You have to vote to extend the meeting too.
Can I make a motion to table 22, 23, 24, and then a motion to adjourn?
Second.
The only one I have any concern about is the Board of Canvassers because of the, well, actually, it doesn't matter. They already validated everything? They certified everything from the last election?
Yes, they
Oh,
did.
yeah, that ship sailed. That ship
Make a
is sailed.
difference. We can move it up to the agenda and do these, move around the agenda for the next meeting.
I'm fine with it. All right, so it's the table 22, 23, 24.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's so the motion's out there from Eva.
Yep.
Is there a second?
I second that. Yes, sir.
Discussion? All in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva,
Eva Jazinski, aye.
Deb,
Deb Kopeck, aye.
Patrick,
Patrick Murray, aye.
Josie Pugh, aye. Motion approved 5-0. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, starting with Susan.
Susan Cicilline Bonanno, aye.
Eva,
Eva Jazinski, aye.
Deb,
Deb Kopeck, aye.
Patrick,
Patrick Murray, aye. Smoke him if you got him.
Josie Pugh, aye. Motion approved 5-0. Thank you all. Have a good night. See you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.